Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the 228th edition of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. My name is Steve Wellings, and joining me this evening we have Donny Baseball, Andy Patterson, and Tommy the Guru Allen. As I always say, if anybody wants to come on the call, hit us up on Twitter or Facebook, and I will send you the link. Now, there's only one place to start, as always. This is the Kell Brook Errol Spence Jr. card from last night. You may have already heard the post-fight pod, and all the panel that's on tonight were on last night, so we made our feelings pretty well known, but we're going to have a brief overview anyway, and we're going to go through maybe a few things that you've already heard, but I want to talk about it in case there's anybody who hasn't heard it on the YouTube, and it might not end up on iTunes, so we're going to have a brief discussion with it anyway. Just putting my 2 pence worth, I haven't changed my mind. I don't know if anybody's looked at it in the cold light today and maybe reversed their decision of what they were thinking last night. Tommy, I haven't changed my mind. I know that in the boxing terminology, we're calling Mr. Brook a quitter, but I'm going to give him a pass if it turns out that his eye is as bad as he says it is, and he gave 11 rounds of full pelt. I'm gonna let him off with that and say that he's not a quitter. But I know that you think otherwise, Tommy.
Just to me, as I said, we went over this last night, but my opinion has no changed on it. I don't think it was just the eye. I think if he had been winning the fight clearly, he wouldn't have pulled out. I think he was catching an ass whooping at that time. He was tired, and I genuinely believe that played more of a part in it than, that's basically how he quit. I wasn't doing it to the eye. If he had been top in that fight, there was no way he would have pulled out. To me, that's a quit job. There's another way to put it. I can put it. I think he bailed out last night.
Just for your information, though, Steve, you said your assessment or whatever would vary on reports of how serious the eye was. I read a couple of news articles today that it was confirmed as a broken eye socket. So, yeah, it was.
Well, feel free to proceed, Donny. Like I said, I think it was Sam Carp who put this on Twitter, and I agreed with him. I was waiting to see for verification from an official doctor and official medical people of what the diagnosis was. And we spoke about it last night, Donny. Obviously, if you're sitting 10, 15 years down the line and you can't see out of your eye, then I'm going to sort of let that go, Yeah,
and I'm on the same page. I think I was saying this last night, but I think there's like kind of two standards. I know that Tommy and Andy disagree, but I think there's like one standard of what is, what's sort of the expectation in boxing. And then there's like, what would I personally do if I was in this situation? Personally, I'd save my eye. I'm not going to lie to you. I could try to be bold and say that I wouldn't, but that's what I would do personally. There are a lot of good things to see in the world, your wife, your kids, things like that. And remember, once you lose one, it's a thing. A tragic accident in the other one, could leave you blind. So, completely blind. So, you're kind of in that situation where you're in jeopardy. So I don't blame him for doing it now. I know that in boxing, guys have done that kind of thing before and have paid the price for it. Sometimes they gambled and maybe it actually didn't end up affecting their vision or whatever. And you know what? Those guys are all the more heroic for it, and we can heap all the praises on them. But I don't think it should necessarily be expected. You could fight with a broken hand, you could fight with a broken nose, you could fight with a broken jaw, and all those things can be reset and healed. But you only get your eyes don't work that way. So that's why I give them a pass for that. But
Andy, you made your feelings known last night as well. I know in the past, whenever we've talked about brain injuries and stuff, like Nick Blackwell, Edward Gutknecht, you've said, you don't mess with the brain. It's the final frontier, etc. Obviously, the eyes are the sort of gateway to that sort of region. Any change of heart on Kell's performance?
No, I still think he quit. I just think some people are kind of wound up about it just because we say that he quit. People can then go on about different injuries. You can't mess with the eye and stuff. But at the end of the day, everybody who follows boxing, supports it, pays for it. You're paying to go and watch guys punch themselves in the head. And as you point out, Steve, the brain's taking more damage each fight than your eyes really taking. So I posted up a video earlier on the day. Dr. Fede Pacheco talking about Ali against Frazier in Manila. He says you can't die just now. You can die after the 15th round. That is the nature of boxing. It's not expected, as Donny says, but at the same time, we look at boxers as superhuman athletes. They really are. It's the toughest sport out there. But at the same time, as the standard's been set so high by some of the greats in the past, it's just the blueprints there. You just do not pack it in. It might be easy for me to say that. People might be fucking raging with me or whatever it is, but that's my opinion. I've watched boxing for the best part of 30 years. My grandfather watched it. He fucking fought in the army. Hard bastard, ex-miner. He would tell you himself, you don't quit, you got to keep pushing forward. It doesn't matter, how much more shit you get. The one thing you can depend on, there's far more still to come. But no, I've not changed my mind on it. He did quit. I agree with what Tommy was saying. In the end, he was running on empty. The eye injury probably gave him a good out. I mean, if he'd quit without the eye injury and stuff, then people would have basically been on top of him a lot harder. But now, apparently it's been confirmed that he's got a broken eye socket, so people are going to be looking on that and say, oh, well, he did the right thing for his health. Again, that's his opinion. If he wants to bail in the fight, entirely up to him. But at the same time, as you can't then turn around and say, if people have got an opinion and says, I think he quit. As I said last night as well, as about 40, 50 years ago, he'd have been booed out the ring. He'd have been chased. He'd probably even been fucking hung for the fucking lampposts. And I'm not even making that up. But as I say, it was a good fight. I think we're kind of like putting too much emphasis on Brook. We need to kind of also mention Spence. I thought he was brilliant. By his own admission, he wasn't brilliant. It wasn't all that great. He gave himself a B- or whatever it was. I thought he coped pretty well coming on the away soil, kind of hostile atmosphere, and he just chipped away, kept at it, didn't he? Kind of unravel. I suppose he could be kind of wild with his shots sometimes, but the body punches, his jab was really good. So can't fault the kid. He's come across here, done the business without any fuss, and looks like he's the third man next once he gets that elbow fixed. So looking forward to that one.
Yeah, you're totally right about Spence. We have to give him all the credit in the world. He invested in the body early, reaped the benefits later, and he was absolutely brilliant. Just on the subject, Andy, of the people that you were pissing off last night, I have to read this one out to you. We had a message just before we went onto air from Sean Miller, which is directed at you. So let me just read this out for you. Mr. Miller says, first of all, I want to say I respect the efforts you lads go through and all the knowledge you have for the sport we all love, but I'm getting sick of this Andy Patterson. Last night, after the Brook Spence fight, you guys
aren't we all?
You guys, after the Brook it gets better. Hold on. After the Brook and Spence fight, you guys went live, and Andy said that Kell Brook quit like a dog. He told the other lad to man up. So I want to say this to you, Andy: man up and accept this challenge. I've done a bit of training, sparred at a very low level, but never fought at any level. I know you say you've done a bit in the past, and I'll give you all the time you want to get in shape. Show me.
Is that Eddie Hearn making offers on social media again now?
He says, get in the ring with me and show me you won't quit like a dog. If you don't accept this challenge, then you've shit it like a dog and have no rights to say such things in the future. I know Eddie Hearn wants to see you get slapped about a bit, so maybe he'll promote a charity event and we can donate all the takings to charity. And a bit of information on him, Andy, in case you're wondering. I'm a small 12-stone man, 34 years old, and I guarantee I'll smash you around for a few rounds and make you apologise for such disrespect. What about that then, Andy? You going to don the gloves?
Don the gloves, mate. What's his name?
Sean Miller on the Facebook page.
Was on the Facebook page. I thought it was on the YouTube. Was that him that put the comment on the YouTube page?
He insulted you on the YouTube page as well. I think he really wants to scrap.
He just wanted to cover all his bases.
Send me his link on Facebook, mate. I'll get in contact with him.
No problem. Okay, Sean, Andy's up for this then. We'll get in touch. Right, let's move on to a few more Facebook questions. Questions regarding last night. Just flicking through now. Donny, Ronnie Moran, TBE, is asking a question. This is from Boxing Addict. We had a similar question actually from Michael Gillette, which I was supposed to read out last week. Apologies, Michael, I missed that one. But basically, he says, Donny, does a Kell Brook that never fought Golovkin beat Errol Spence Jr.? So was the Golovkin fight that pivotal in the decision last night?
Well, first of all, I mean, I don't know if the gentleman is aware or not, and maybe this is the basis for his question. Like, in other words, it was the other eye, it wasn't the eye that Golovkin damaged. So I don't know if his question is put on that basis. I think the answer is obviously no. No version of Kell Brook is going to beat Errol Spence. I mean, he's a very unique talent, and he actually learned a lot in that fight. I actually had him lose the first couple rounds. And as he said, I think he certainly had to sort of kind of like Floyd does, take the data, kind of figure out what was what. I don't know how many, what was I going to say, how long it took him to really find his range with the jab and everything, but he was using that to set up his body work. I mean, the combination punching was excellent. I just thought that overall he really put the whole package together, and I think that he's just a better fighter, and he's just clearly on the way up. And he's going to be, I think, something very special in the next couple of years. And I don't think Kell Brook could have beaten him whether he had fought Golovkin or whether he hadn't. I don't think Golovkin took anything out of him per se.
Guru, any words on where both of the guys will go next? Spence, obviously, at 147. Brook maybe move up to 154. The Amir Khan fight's possibly dead in the water now. What do you think?
Well, Spence is obviously, to be honest, he's all right. We never gave Errol Spence enough credit last night. He's a great, sensational young fighter, and he's only going to go into bigger and better things. I really, really like him. He's going to go into unification fights now. Regarding Kell Brook, well, Kell Brook was saying before the fight he can make 147. Well, I'm not saying no problem, but he can make it for another 18 months, is what he says. So I think we're still going to see the same with Kell Brook. He'll maybe fight about 152, have a couple of wins up, look all right, and then they're still going to chase the Amir Khan fight, aren't they? That's the fight they want. They're going to target that fight. They'll probably target it at 147. Well, they'll probably target it at 154, but Amir will always call the shots here, and he'll take him back down to 147. That's the fight that Brook will probably end his career on. I believe it will happen at some point still, and that's where we'll see Kell Brook aiming for that.
Andy, any words on you before we move on regarding Brook in particular, about where he might go? We spoke last night, his heart's maybe not in it anymore. He might look for an exit route out of the sport altogether.
It's possible. I mean, as I say, he's fucked about with a lot of time trying to chase that Khan fight. Just on topic, I think Donnie was talking to Seb last night. He was actually in attendance there last night. He actually even said that fucking Brook quit as well, like a dog. So just to let that one.
For people that don't know, he's like a massive fucking fan of Kell Brook. So I mean, it has been for like a long time. So yeah.
But on that, as you say, mate, 154, as I say, it's probably more kind of a boxer's, a more kind of boxer's kind of division. Now, as I said last night, as Bellew said, I agree with what Bellew was saying, is who's going to want Kell Brook now? Because the only thing that made Kell Brook relevant was the world title that he held there last night. He's lost it. He's not going to hang about 147 for his next fight unless he gets a title fight, which is not going to happen next. Or it's going to be Pacquiao, which is not going to happen. Title fights up at like middleweight could be hard to come by. Charlo's went up in weight. Does he really want to fight Lara? As I say, I'm not saying he wouldn't hold his own up there. I just think some of the fights, they're definitely not appealing to me. There's not got any big price tags against him, so Brook's not really going to earn a lot of money at 154. You might want to step up again to 160. I don't know. Again, there's not really kind of a lot of big money fights up there, unless if Andy Lee fancies a fight. I don't know. Other than that, mate, I just think depends how bad this eye injury is. I know Eddie wants him up at 154 next fight. Out later on this year, I don't think we'll maybe see him till maybe next year. I think Khan's also stated as well that if he's looking for a fight next summer, probably late next year. So I think at that point as well, as he's tight at the weight already. I just think another 12 months, he's going to be even worse trying to make that weight, mate. I think if this fight's ever going to come off, it's going to have to happen at a catch weight between 147 and 154.
Yeah, final comment on it. Donnie, were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say one other thing too, and people are going to actually not believe that I'm going to say this, but Amir Khan fans, there's at least some of them on Twitter, are fucking annoying me. As a Khan fan, I think I can say that they're just fucking annoying. Is because like the people are like, oh well, this fucking fight like proves that like he was never in, Amir Khan's league and all this other shit. It's like they're fucking excited that like their fighter like doesn't have to fight Kell Brook now. It's like these people are fucking pathetic. Like, first of all, like I mean, this fight really, Amir Khan didn't get the Mayweather fight because he didn't have the nuts to take this fight, in December 2013 when he should have. And while he was busy doing nothing and sitting on his hands, right, and playing with himself, like fucking Maidana went out there and beat the shit out of Broner, and that's why he snuck in there and kind of nipped him at the wire to get the Floyd fight. If he had taken the Brook fight when it actually mattered, and when it would have, basically been for all the marbles, because the winner probably would have gotten Floyd, he decided that he could get in the, and get the Floyd fight through the back door just by doing nothing, because Broner was supposed to beat Maidana. And when Broner beat Maidana, if Broner had beaten Maidana, Broner had said, I'm never, ever going to fight Floyd. He's my best friend. He's my mentor, whatever. So Khan thought, well, I'll be the only choice left. You know what I mean? And Maidana flipped the script, and he went out and made an affirmative case to get that fight. So there was a chance for that fight to happen then, when it actually mattered. Then there was a chance for it to happen last night when, if Brook had won. Of course, that didn't happen. And now it's going to happen at a time when no one really gives a shit about it. And to me, it's a real tragedy. That's a fight between two guys from the same country who at the one time held world titles. They were in the same division. They were in the same age bracket. I mean, they were about the same age. I mean, everything about that fight made sense. And now we're only going to get it when no one's going to give a shit about it anymore. And to me, that's a tragedy.
Thanks for that, Donny. Mark Wood has sent in a message on Facebook as we're live. He says, on the Brook quit, seems like a contradiction to me. If the eye was fucked, you would expect the ref or the corner to pull them out, but a quitter for protecting yourself at all times. So Mark Wood's weighed in. Is there anything you want to say, Tommy?
I'm just going to respond to Donny there. It was regarding the Mayweather fight. Khan wanted the Broner fight, and Broner demanded a catch weight. I think it was 143 or 144 pounds. Khan says, fight me at welterweight. He said, we can make this fight happen. You can either fight me or I'm going to fight Chris Algieri instead. Broner refused to fight, and the rest history. And see regarding Amir Khan fans as well, I think they're quite right today, because we've seen for years that they've said Khan lacks balls, blah, blah, blah. Well, I think last night kind of proved that the one who's really not got any balls at all, and it's Kell Brook, isn't it? Amir Khan would never quit in a fight like that. He's proved he's a warrior in the ring time and time again. Kell Brook came out after he literally, when Amir Khan was lying unconscious on the floor and against Canelo, Kell Brook came out and laughed, and I think a lot of people have just got to put into account where Khan fans are coming from. There's a lot of history there. There's been a lot of shit spoken that, and well, I think they're quite right with what they're saying.
Sean Anslow's just dropped me a line on Twitter there. He says that he wasn't happy with the England chants during the minute silence for Manchester last night and the constant scrapping. Is this normal? Well, unfortunately, it's becoming more and more normal as the casuals come into the sport. Whenever there's a scrap at a boxing match, people think that there's always fights at boxing match because it's boxing. But that's not actually the case, is it, Andy? You go to like a Belfast small hall or a proper Glasgow small hall. People are there to watch boxing. They know they're boxing. It's the wankers who've had a bit too much to drink who start generally 9 times out of 10 start throwing things, thinking that they're in the ring.
Generally, as you say, mate, aye, definitely, mate. As you say, I think if you get the small hall shows, generally speaking, it's the guys that go to these shows are generally like the hardcore fans or like friends of the fighter or family of the fighter, and that, and they dish the tickets out to their mates and stuff. So everybody knows each other. So that's the reason why there's no really kind of lot big fucking stramash. It's when you get these big events, say the Heron States, go and get a few tins, a few lines, have a good time. It's not about the boxing anymore. It's about the event, innit? It's about a night out with your missus, getting all dolled up. Fuck the fights, Yeah,
exactly.
But as you say, you see what happened to Tommy's dad at the fucking Burns fight. You always get an element of arseholes going to fights just looking to cause bother, or if something happens, so you look at somebody the wrong way or whatever, and that it just kicks off for whatever reason, just because cunts are fucking full of the drugs and that,
Go ahead, Tom.
No, I was actually going to say what Andy just says here. I'm in full agreement with him. You're getting guys you like casual fans coming into sport and that now. They're going to football during the day, getting pissed up, and they've got a ticket for the boxing at night. They come to the events, they're already fucking steaming, they're already coked up, and a lot of them are just there looking for trouble. To be quite honest, they watch Rocky once and fucking think they're heroes, don't they?
Exactly. Donny, just back to more savoury matters, just briefly. David O'Hara's hit me up with a question as we're on the air. He said, if Khan Brook were to happen, where would it take place? Khan is delusional enough to think it still fills Wembley Stadium.
Maybe it's simple if they both build themselves back up. First of all, Khan needs to be active again. He's fighting basically once a year, and then it always seems like he has to have I've been out for so long, I need a comeback fight, so I won't fight. You know what I mean? So it's a little frustrating. I'd like to see Khan a little bit more active. He's obviously one of my favorite fighters. I like to watch him. fight, and we'd like to see him back in the ring soon. So if they could both rebuild themselves a little bit and build up the drama again, maybe if one of them could snag a title, although I think that's unlikely because this is a division with Thurman and Spence in it now, and Pacquiao, at least for now. So that'd be hard to fathom, and I don't see neither one of them picking up a title at 154 either. So it'll have to pretty much probably be a non-title fight or a vacant title fight. And if they could both rebuild themselves, I could say maybe a smaller stadium, like the size stadium that the fight was in last night, but certainly not Wembley. I think they'd be probably putting that at the O2.
I don't think this can Pacquiao fight, Steve. I think Pacquiao's going to beat Horn, and you maybe see that fight early next year or at some point next year.
In the UK, Tommy?
I'm not sure where it'll be, mate. I don't know enough about it, but I'm just saying.
But you're saying Khan's going to fight Pacquiao?
Yeah. I think that fight will happen. I think what Amir will do is he'll maybe have a tune-up. Pacquiao will fight Horn, and then they'll fight. They want to fight each other. I think there was just a problem with the money in that last time. Bob Arum wasn't too keen on it either, but I think that's definitely a fight both guys are still looking at, and I think it might happen.
Eventually though, Bob is going to insist and is going to fucking just try to make difficult unless Pacquiao fights Crawford. I mean, his deal with Bob Arum's fucking coming to an end. Bob's not going to let him get out of that fucking deal or whatever without fighting Crawford because he wants to cash Pacquiao out and put it into his next star.
Well, what I'm hearing is now that Bob Arum's not really got as big a say in Manny Pacquiao's career. I think Michael Contz is really he's the man that's running the show basically now, and what Bob wants, it doesn't matter as much as it did maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. I think if it comes down to it, Bob Arum's he's going to be able to fight a slick guy. Bob's going to obviously want to fight his own slick guy, isn't he? Where he can make the money out of it. But I don't know. I still think that Pacquiao can fight will happen. I think there's obviously history between them, and I think they both genuinely want it.
Yep, Cons by name, Cons by nature. Right, before we go on to the undercard, I'm going to just play a couple of brief clips. I played one last night, but Tommy wasn't here for his right to reply. I know he's been scribbling on a bit of parchment all day to get this in. So let me play this first clip that you might have heard last week.
Come on, Tommy.
And then let's see what Eddie has to say.
Good fight. We like Paul Smith. Why? Because he had 2 good fights with Arthur Abraham, not so long ago. Do you understand? So it's a completely fine fight. It makes complete sense for Zoiga to fight Paul Smith. But it still pisses me off that these bitter bastards will sit there all day on Twitter and tweet Gilberto Mendoza non-stop. Fucking hell. Going back to it, imagine if you put that energy into something else. Anything. When you look at the boys, the couple of Scottish boys, Tommy and Brian and all that mob up there, they're at it. Think about the energy that they put in and the time they put into trolling, right? It's quite incredible, isn't it? In fact, they're very dedicated individuals because it is all they do in their life. Their whole life is trolling on social media. And that makes them happy, so you can't knock that. But imagine if they took that time and energy and passion that they have for being miserable and directed it into something else. They're being unstoppable force. I think they are unstoppable force. I know, yeah, but unstoppable force that no one has any respect for. So how can you be happy with your life if you looked at like a joke, But I don't know.
Yeah, Tommy, you big joke. But before you get stuck in on that one, Tommy, I don't mind him giving you a slagging and Brian King a slagging, but I think Eddie crossed the line with this other clip I'm going to play, where he dived into a legend of the sport, a world-class competitor from the prison canteen. Listen to Eddie going in deep on the grenade here.
So, people will tweet me and go, "It's disgusting. Do you think Paul Smith really deserves a world title fight?" And I'll go, well, on the basis of winning 3 6-rounders after Andre Ward, not really. But on the basis of, if you're German and you're looking for a super middleweight opponent, right? guy that has given Arthur Abraham 2 great fights on German TV, the first one particularly, one that Paul could have won. He's the absolute perfect opponent for Tyrone Zoiga. Perfect opponent. He's just boxed Isaac Ekpo as his mandatory. Well, do you think Isaac Ekpo deserves a shot at a world title? But instead of your countrymen going, how have you got that shot for a world title? Make the most of it, son. Take it to the Germans.
Billy Britt time.
You want to tweet the president of the governing body to try and stop that fight from happening because you sit at home in your pants with no life, just knocking one out. All these chumps from like, what? Oh, Gilberto Mendoza. It's a disgrace that how can you do this? Well, so what are you trying to do? Take an opportunity away from a guy who's boxed all his life, who just wants to have a fight, challenge for the world title, try and win a world title, and.
Okay, Eddie, we've heard enough. Right, Tommy, the floor is yours. I'm going to butt out. Let me.
Hey, hang on, wait. I don't think your time is ready. He's busy knocking one out as we speak.
I'm just even about that, man. I've worked my whole life. I've always had a full-time job in that. There is an invention called smartphones, Eddie. You didn't have to lie in your bedroom all day and go and lie on a laptop. There's this invention called smartphones. You can tweet from absolutely anywhere you want in the world. But if you want to talk about somebody that's sad, let's talk about you, Eddie. You've got multiple Twitter accounts. You've got your own Twitter account. You're on the Matchroom Twitter account. You're even on Michael Buffer's Twitter account. You've got Anthony Josh's Twitter account. You've got Kell Brooks. You've got all your fighters. So what do, Eddie? Do you just lie in your office all day and knocking one out over Twitter, mate? Come on, now, wisen up a wee bit. But I think he got a wee bit personal. I think he got a wee bit personal there, and he should not have done that. It's the boxing fans are well within their rights to tweet whoever they want about fights that they're paying for. We're the paying public. We're allowed a voice. We can talk about what we want. In my opinion, Eddie Hearn, he's a thief, right? He's a thief. It's a fact. He's got this thing called Fight Pass. £30 a pop to buy it. Okay, he just had a fight at Wembley with 90,000 fans. Now, these people that pay this 30 quid, this Fight Pass 30 quid, there was not enough tickets allocated to them. What he's done is he's taken their money and he's not giving them in return what they're paying for. That's stealing. What he's doing with StubHub is exactly the same. It's a conflict of interest here with StubHub. He's sponsored by them. There's tickets going on there at marked up prices. Now, if he's saying that he's not giving them tickets that are marked up, right, fair play. There's no proof that he has. But at the end of the day, he's still being paid for StubHub. His name. There's a conflict of interest there, as this is with Fight Pass, not allocating enough tickets to fans who want to go to his events. They're paying them good money. They're paying their hard-earned money, and they're not getting in return what they're paying for. To me, that's stealing. He's also a liar. He denies that. Right? What else is he? See where I come from, right? That there's 4 really bad things that you can be. One is stealing from people less fortunate than yourself. Now, if you're going to steal, you steal off somebody who's got more than you, right? Nobody really cares about that. If you steal off people less fortunate, you're a fucking scumbag. You don't lie about it either. That makes you an even bigger scumbag, right? Another thing is you don't pick on girls. Eddie Hearn, he liked to pick on Jodie Marsh when she was a kid. He picked on her. We all know he did. People have came out and shaded that he picked on her, this girl so bad that she had to go and get a nose job in that because he picked on her. And what else is he now? He's a grass. He's grassing people on Twitter and that who've got an opinion. So Eddie Hearn, where I come from, there's 4 really bad things you can be. One of them is a thief. One of them is a liar. One's somebody that picks on girls, and the other's a fucking grass. And Eddie Hearn is all 4 of these things. He calls himself the people's promoter, right? How can he be the people's promoter with all this shit with tickets and that? He's full of shit. He's out to line his own pockets. He loves to say that he's Britain's premier promoter, right? That's absolute shit for a start, because Frank Warren is a better promoter, and I'll explain why Frank Warren's a better promoter than him, right? Eddie Hearn is a Sky promoter. He promotes using Sky's money. He doesn't use his own money. Whenever Eddie Hearn's going to put his own money up for a fight, he's going to go with a purse bid. What you'll see is Eddie Hearn will lose the purse bid, and the fighter, I'll name Darren Barker, Lee Purdy, James DeGale, Callum Smith, they'll have to go over to America. And Stephen Smith. And why is that? Because Eddie Hearn won't put the money up. What Eddie Hearn will do is he'll let the fighter go over there. The promoter will pay the purse to the fighter, and Eddie Hearn will keep the Sky money in his pocket. He's no willing to put the money up himself. Now, people say, he's best promoter. Frank Warren blows my way. What Frank Warren's done, he left Sky. He's put his money where his mouth is. Even when Frank was with Sky, he would always get his own fighters home ground. He'd get in the fights over here. Hearn, it's all about money. It's a money racket. I don't know how people keep buying into this. The guy is a complete and utter fucking scumbag. He says he cares for his fighters and that. He doesn't care for his fighters. If he was caring for his fighters, he'd put his money where his mouth is, but he won't. He'll let them go over there. He'll pick up the money. He's getting paid either way. He doesn't give a fuck. You know? One way, to be honest, I've disagreed with him on a few major points. The Cleverly Bellew pay-per-view, for a start, that should never have been pay-per-view. What you've had there is you've had Eddie, when he was at the stage stealing fighters for other promoters, was he'd promised them the world, and when they got there, he had to keep this promise up. And when I mean promising the world, he was promising them more money. Now he had to fucking pay them that money, and the only way to do that was to get them pay-per-view. So, you know, that's right. And now what you see is fighters now are demanding too much money. They're only demanding too much money because you've told them you would give them that money, and that's just bullshit. And another thing I really disagree with them on, to be honest, but the only things I really disagree with them on is that pay-per-view, a couple other pay-per-views, and the StubHub shit, man. But what the thing with Eddie is, Eddie's very happy if you give him credit and that, but see, as soon as you have a pop at him, he can't take it. He's a typical spoiled rich kid who should have fucking born us all a spoon up his arse. He can't take criticism. Now what he's doing is he's running telling tales on Twitter. I tweeted him last week that I hope Paul Smith gets no, he reported me to Twitter for that, right? So I had another account on Twitter, and I mailed him calling him a grass the next day, and what he done was he got that tweet banned as well for harassment. So there's your people's promoter there, by the way. I hope I've exposed a few things for him. The guy, he's not the best promoter. He's a con man. He's spending Sky's money. He's not putting his own money up. He just did exactly the same as they done with Leyton Orient, and their skint teams were fucking better than Leyton Orient because when they put their own money into them, you know, it's Hearn's. He's a fugazi. That's basically what he is.
Fugazi.
Tommy, at first when you were going through the list of lawyers and all that, was starting to be like Father Ted's speech.
What I'd done before I came on the podcast tonight was I'd wrote down some bullet points of what I was going to speak of. They ended up jumping back and forth, but I think he's basically all got the gist of what I'm trying to say. The guy's a thief, the guy's a liar, he picks on girls, and he's a fucking grass. That's four of the worst things you can be. That's one step away from being a nonce. The only thing that's worse in my way than being there for is being a nonce. He's a fucking scumbag. Carry on.
Right.
Well, I don't suppose he'll be coming on anytime soon again.
Fuck. He's not welcome, mate. He's not welcome in the podcast. So go fuck yourself.
Donny, were you going to get the countdown clock out there for Tommy?
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I was enjoying it too much. So,
any comments, Andy? No.
I can't really add more to that, mate. In all honesty, as I says, I didn't watch and listen to every single one of Eddie Hearn's interviews. As I says, I didn't have no good time. I didn't sit in my mother's basement knocking one off my underpants on. I've watched maybe 2 this week. If anybody posts a video about him, I'll ask for a time on the video because he's like 30 minutes. 60 minutes talking absolute dross. I mean, did you hear that Paul Smith excuse? You know, he went to Sat 1 and German television says, well, we like Paul Smith. He gave Afra Abraham 2 great fights. No, he got owned in the second fight and he made it close in the first fight, even though Abraham still won it. He got handled pretty easily in the first fight. It's not about going out of our way to basically shaft a guy over. Some people might do that because it's Paul Smith, but you know, at the end of the day, okay, boxing, you didn't get what's always yours, and it's not always fair. But at the same fucking time, you know, it's no fair that Paul Smith jumps to number what was it, 14 and number 5 for what? He's not even fought in the super middleweight division for almost 3.5 years, and then WBA are going to upgrade him to like number 5 or a chance to fucking fight for a title. You know, fair's fair at the end of the fucking day. As I say, boxing's no fucking fair, but at the same time, as some people need to step up and say, listen, this isn't fucking right. This is not on. And I mean, at the end of the day, if you really want to get Paul a title fight, I mean, there's George Groves there last night. Okay, I didn't begrudge that guy winning that fight, winning that title as well, because in some sort of semblance, he's actually earned that fucking title. He's been through the hard fighters. He's had to fucking try his best, and he kind of came up short against the best fighters at that time. Jack's probably class #1 super middleweight. So you can see that Groves may have earned his shot with the WBA title. What the fuck's Paul Smith done to earn his WBA title shot? Watch what they do with Jamie Cox as well. Jamie Cox fought for a WBA title there last night, and he's talking about fighting for the British shit. But just keep your eye on the WBA rankings at 168 in the next month, 6 weeks. You see how Jimmy Cox lines up in this fucking thing, because he's not ranked at the minute. But I guarantee you, I'm wanting to fucking bet a wee bit of money that he's within the top 15 within the next 6 to 8 weeks. Fucking guaranteed. And for that to happen, considering where Cox has been, these last few years, if he's not ranked with the 4 ranking the bodies just now, and he goes to Hearn, has one fight, one world. I mean, did you hear him last night talking about he's won a world title fight? That's no reason to go to Hearn, because Hearn can fucking somehow, he's got the pool, he's got the TV station, he's definitely got the ear that Al Heyman's fighters are in America, so he can bring them there, he can get a few title fights. But at the end of the day, he doesn't build fighters up. I think it was at Cal Yafai and Anthony Joshua was his first 2 world champions that he's brought up for the start. Everything else Tommy says he fucking thieved it off Frank Warren. He says he doesn't make stars. He doesn't make fucking great careers and stuff like that. All he does is about putting out a big event, putting on these shitty fucking undercard. We could look at the undercard there last night with the 3 Olympians, Fowler, Cordina and Okole. Those were fucking awful opponents. The 3 of them should have been fucking disqualified last night. There you go. I mean, point deductions. That shit last night. That was disgusting what they got away with. Fucking right, mate. I mean, that undercard was shit last night. This is what we've been getting. Stack the pay-per-view, put it on with shit fights so we can get the main event to get the full purse. People can sing the praises of the match from all they want. But there's only so often you can watch a fucking a semi-fucking empty stadium singing Sweet Caroline for fucking 5 hours, watching absolute fucking dross, waiting for the main event to start. Which, and by the way, if it wasn't for fucking Groves and Chudanov, that whole card would have fucking stunk to the fucking high heavens, by the way. And then you have Brook quit on top of it. There would have been massacres there last night if it wasn't for fucking George Groves. He saved that fucking card, no end about it. And he's not even a fucking matchroom fighter. And he hates Eddie Hearn.
Exactly. That's how he's solid. That's what I'm saying.
What's interesting too is that like Hearn say, well, why did you complain to the WBA, whatever? Well,
who made he complain to?
But that's what I'm saying. In other words, right? If you don't like the fight, you did complain to the WBA. That's where the complaint is properly addressed, because we all know that Eddie's job as Paul Smith's promoter is to get him as big a fights as possible. So I don't think any of us begrudge the fact that Eddie went out and got his fighter a world title fight. That's what he's supposed to do. So all you guys did was you started tweeting Gilbert Mendoza. You're saying, well, you know what? Hey, look,
no,
guys on this list, and it's not fair to them, right? To have Paul Smith just sneak him into the rankings and just so they can make this fight happen. It's not fair to those other 15 guys who also paid their dues and got their rankings. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's just it's annoying, and it's like well, why is he mad that you're addressing your complaint to the proper person?
Exactly, and the thing is, as well as people aren't fucking tweeting them all day. I mean, as you see, a tweet takes the best part of 30 seconds to send. Well, if I know Eddie listens to this podcast, so you have people doing it for him and stuff. If you heard back to last week's show, you hear me saying that fucking Mendoza contacted me personally to discuss fucking some matters, right? So we didn't fucking sit there all day and message Mendoza. He even took it upon himself to message us to see what the fuck's going on, and he even asked us what our thoughts were on that Nandam Murata fight. And guess what? Right, we're not taking fucking credit for it, but if we're going to have to fucking start doing it, we'll do it. We got Murata a fucking rematch here like in last Saturday, so fuck us, suck it.
That is true. Mendoza did DM you about what you thought about whether that Murata decision was fair, and he did, in fact, I think, give those judges a suspension, and they are mandating a rematch. So, I mean, like you said, we're not going to take credit for it, but they did solicit our opinion. We gave it, so cool.
says it before, man. See, you'll find this with people who are born with a silver spoon up their ass. When someone doesn't go their way, the toys will come out the pram, and this is the way he's reacted.
You get personal.
He's got personal. He started grassing. He started doing this. He started doing that. You know, he's just a fucking scumbag, basically, man. He's a thief, a scumbag, and a grass and a liar.
Right, enough of all that, Andy. You mentioned George Groves in the thick of all that type of stuff. Again, it was on last night's podcast, but give us a brief overview. I think we gave Groves unanimous credit last night for his performance.
I think we did, mate. I can't remember much about last night, but as it says, the way it kicked off, I really did think that Groves wasn't going to blast the pace. Judorov just really put it on him. Anytime you saw him, land a couple of shots, Groves and that, the guy just wiped his brow and came forward again. And you're saying to yourself, I don't know, is Groves going to fall mentally again here? Is he going to tire out? Is he going to get chinned with something? Is he going to get dropped? He caught a few shots there last night. The foot movement's not the greatest anymore. His foot movement used to be pretty good, but it's not the same. But at the same time, during the course of that fight, he was forced to stand his ground, and he picked his shots well. Worked the body, especially just before the stoppage. Actually, he was really kind of savaging that body, because you can see Chudinov is really kind of covering up with the arms and the elbows, kind of try to stop any more shots coming in. I was really pleased for him last night because, well, as you heard me say there, actually, he's kind of had to earn it the hard way. Not that I've got anything against that, so the way it should be, instead of getting title shots handed to you. But considering what he's had to go through, especially off the Gutnick fight as well. Clearly, he was emotional last night. You could hear him basically stating he thinks about him every day. As he said, it's a cruel sport. That's what it's all about. Gutnick wouldn't quit. Chudinov definitely wouldn't quit either. So he was faced by a guy. He just wasn't going to fall. But at the same time, as when the fight was stopped, I did think Chudinov accepted it for what it was. He knew he was badly hurt. He just wasn't going to go down no way. Just typical hard Russian bear, by the way. And his brother's exactly the same, as I said last night as well. So really pleased for Groves. Obviously, I don't know what's happening with DeGale. I don't know what has happened with him next, but hopefully we might get the rematch. And I think once we do get the rematch, I wouldn't be surprised to say if these two do fight again for the unification fight, I think both will retire afterwards, because DeGale's mentioned about retiring after next 18 months, 2 years. Groves is talking about potentially retire. I mean, what else can he do now apart from unify the division? He's got the monkey off his back. He's already erased the fucking ghost, so to speak. Frotz gave him full respect there last night. It was good to see as well. A bit of grudging respect there. So, fair play to Groves. I'm not going to be saying he needs to be fighting this guy, because I think now we can potentially get some unification fights, and that DeGale fight's potentially in the offing, and maybe Eddie will be kind of wanking himself off in his mum's basement looking to put that on pay-per-view.
Tommy, we discussed the stoppage last night. I think I myself said that Chudinov just hadn't got the speed of thought and hand to start throwing back, and Groves just caught him in a complete flurry. Liam Wynn was questioning the stoppage. He agrees with us, though, Tommy. He said, your thoughts on the stoppage of Groves against Chudinov, given the recent illness of Gutnecht, as well as Andy mentioned. In my mind, it was the right decision, says Liam. You agree with that, Tommy?
I've watched it back today and I agree 100%. I was watching it live last night. I wasn't sure exactly how much of them were landing. There's no doubt Chudinov was hurt, but I watched it back today, and that the stoppage was spot on. It was absolutely perfect. Nobody can have any complaints about that last night.
And from you, finally, Donny, where do you see Groves going next? He was talking about Paul Smith if he was to beat Zuga, whatever you call that guy. They're both WBA titles, aren't they? You've got DeGale's the IBF. That would be the obvious rematch, I think. You've got Duell fighting Smith. There's a bit of activity at that division.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, DeGale, I think, obviously, is where he needs to go. I mean, people have wanted to see that rematch for, what is it now, 7 years? Something like that. But, yeah, I think that's definitely where we got to go. It's always been interesting to me, by the way, that two guys that clearly had, kind of, a lot of potential to be, promoted very well and, I guess to become stars really, and then they met so early in their career. It's just surprising that they did, or maybe Groves wasn't that big of a name at that time. But I mean, I was always surprised how that happened so quickly, and then the rematch never happened. I want to see that.
Andy, I was saying before we went on air that I hadn't seen the Jamie Cox fight or the Dave Allen fight, and I was going to try and seek them out on YouTube. You told me not to bother.
Yeah, don't bother, mate. As I says, oh well, I probably said it last night. Dave Allen's fight was difficult to watch. I kind of struggled and gave up after about 5 rounds and kind of switched it back on top just to get the decision. I did think that Allen would probably go it because he was basically the home fighter, but it was mainly kind of like single shots and kind of like pushing forward type of thing. I listened to Eddie's comments here last night. I mean, I'm not wanting to bring up Dave's personal issues and that, but we all know, we've all read about what Dave's had to battle through and stuff, and Eddie Hearn throws him under the bus like that. He was basically saying as well. Maybe Eddie was right as well in what he's saying, that he shouldn't be out in the toon, day of the fight, meeting people and stuff because he's burning up energy and all that sort of stuff. But just it is what it is. I mean, Calzaghe got up and walked about before the Lacey fight, walking about the hotel, talking to people and stuff. So each to their own. They've got their own ways of kind of preparing for a fight. Jamie Cox is another one, by the way. This big puncher. Everybody knows that I'm a big fan of Jamie Cox. I think he's going to be the next unified champion. He's really no, honestly, but I don't get the hype. I never have got the hype. That guy should have 2 legit losses on his ledger. I just don't see. Okay, the guy he was fighting wasn't all that great either. But he toughed it out. Jamie Cox was basically kind of like does what he normally does: headbutts, grapples, a couple of decent shots here and there and stuff. But anybody. I mean, super middleweight's not really all that thick for talent just now. But Jamie Cox is getting exposed. As soon as he steps up and maybe he's a top 6 fighter, he is getting exposed. Log it.
Oh, see last night. I watched that whole card last night, right? See when Cox was fighting, I swear to God, you could not have got a commentator more up his arse than Bailey was. I thought it was cringeworthy.
Justifying everything.
See during the Dave Allen fight, I was pulling big time for Dave. I'm sure everybody was. But see that the way I think Carol Froch gave him the first 6 rounds in that fight. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Actually had Dave Edge in the fight. I thought with the point deduction, he just nicked it. But it wasn't a good performance, really, was it? But Frank Froch had him winning me about fucking
117, 111. So 117, 111, is that for Dave Allen?
Aye.
That was 117, 111.
Aye, that's fucking. How can you get a score like that? This is the same guy who scored Carol Frampton, Scott Quigg a draw, man. I can't fathom. I just can't fathom out how he comes after his scorecards. What Sky are needing to do is they need to get a judge in like HBO. They've got Harold Lederman that will sit there ringside and he'll score the fight. Get a professional to do. These guys they don't know what they're doing. Tony Bellew and the John Ryder and Rocky Fielding fight. He had a horrible scorecard that night as well. I thought last night just the commentary was shocking, and they made excuses for the young Olympian guys coming through as well. They were hitting guys on the break, they were hitting guys when they were doing that. It was shocking. And Carol Froch, after that fight last night when Cale Brook quit, he had the audacity to see on video that Cale Brook didn't really quit, did he? He went down on his own accord, but he also got up on his own accord, and the referee stopped it. That's no quitting. Fuck off, Carol. He quit, and that's it, man. They're so biased. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, but Tommy, the thing is, Tommy, there's no objectivity. That's what happens when you have all the stable, all their mates, all their sparring partners, all discussing it. You need a Teddy Atlas or a Howard Lederman, like you say, or a Steve Farhood.
Exactly.
You need objectivity.
Exactly, mate. And you do. The closest we get to that is fucking Paulie Malignaggi when he comes over.
Tony Bellew sometimes. I mean, fucking Bellew goes full shill sometimes and then fucking turns full heel. I thought he was spot on with the Brook comments here last night. I says, there's no. I did think to myself, nobody's going to say that Brook quit, and I was like, fuck it, he just said it. I cannot believe it.
You know,
see the thing with Bailey, all the shit he's talked over the years. He couldn't come out and say anything but that Cale Brook quit last night. But he's still a matchroom shell, isn't he? I'm just looking at Twitter and see that Tommy Coyle earlier on. Chris Eubank Jr. tweeted saying that imagine giving your title up with 2 rounds to go, and Coyle attacks him. Yeah, I'd love to fight you in the cobbles and that. Where the fuck was Tommy Coyle when fucking, as I said earlier, where was Tommy Coyle when Cale Brook started laughing when Amir Khan's line looked out? It was nowhere. These guys are all fucking, oh man, they're indescribable. They're like a cult, aren't they? They are a cult.
It's funny. Malignaggi is like one of the few fighters I think you know, I mean, when he's giving like interviews or whatever to like reporters, and he's like kind of has his fighter hat on, he talks like more trash than anybody. And there's certain fighters he fucking hates, but like whenever he's like commentating, he's actually pretty like down the line. I think he's like really one of the best. I think we've said this before, but I think he's one of the best, you know, fighter commentators going. Really, he does such a great job for Showtime, and that's why they bring him over for a lot of UK shows. I think.
Where the fuck is Ed Robinson nowadays, by the way? Where the fuck's he went to? Ed Robinson? He get him fucking back. I mean, her is doing the anchor just now, but Amy Woolhouse, eye candy, man, and she's not even that fucking good looking. She's like a fucking rake. I mean, like shagging a cuttlefish.
Who's that?
I think she's a wee shag.
The presenter woman.
I mean, she's fucking awful.
She looks like a human resources manager.
Fucking Joy Nelson's struggling to get a sentence with going, fucking, they call him. Frotchy's got his moments and stuff, and then of course Amir Khan steps in with his pearls of wisdom and stuff. You know, it's like, you know, the font of all knowledge. And of course, Carol Frotch doesn't even know people, but he calls people with fucking false surnames. Calls people. I mean, he complains about fucking Frank Warren calling him Carol Frock. He's fucking calling Earl Spencer.
Spencer. Richie Woodall was committing that crime as well. He kept on calling Matty Askins. I think he was getting mixed up with Lee Haskins.
It's better than Paul Dempsey calling Ronald McDonald.
He nearly done it again, didn't he?
I've seen the video. He just cut himself off and died, didn't he? That was hilarious, man.
Yeah, Tommy, you were talking about the Olympians there. Darren Parsons has been in touch about them. He said Okoli, Fowler and Cordina were all making fouls last night. What is it with these Olympians, and should any of them have been disqualified?
Well, I don't know about so much Cordina, but see if the fighters see Okoli and especially Fowler. See if you watch Fowler, he comes in, he throws his shots, he puts him doing right, he pauses, the guy's doing it and he pauses and he thinks about it, then he fucking nails him. Watch it back, man. I hate him already. Anthony Fowler, I can't stand him, man. He's a fucking tube. You know, like a muscle man shit.
I thought you hated him before.
He's a fucking. I can't say about a dick on Twitter and that, Mary, but I kind of minded that. But that's his pro debut and that last night. I fucking hate him already, man. I swear to God.
I bet he put his fucking hand wraps up for auction, by the way.
That's him. What was he doing on Twitter again? Was he charging?
He was charging people like for a photograph a tenner or for a retweet 20 quid and that. I mean, he's fucking. He couldn't give him a red night by a blowtorch, that cunt.
You should do that, Tommy. You should charge people for a retweet.
You're all right, man. You're all right. I've only got 500 followers. You're ready.
Right, Dominic's joined us on the line. Dominic, how you sounding? Dominic.
Yeah, Tommy, will you get your quick back, mate?
I'm unlocked on Friday. I'll be back on Friday. So everybody who's missed Mr. Guru will be back on Friday. Guru
will be back. Dominic, let me read this question out to you from Toby Hines on the Facebook page.
Well,
yep, see what you think about this, right? Toby has said, I was wondering about the fact that Brook has had his face caved in yet again. I can count on two hands the times I've heard of guys suffering that injury over the years. Then Brook gets it twice in a row on different sides of his face. It cannot be that he just has thin bones or being susceptible to it due to a defect, as he has managed 36 fights and a long amateur career without it happening. Toby thinks it's odd. And by the way, he says, I love that Hearn name-checked Tommy and Andy, tweets to Mendoza, and like Hagler legally changed his name to Marvelous Marvin. What do you think about the Brook face thing, Dominic? A bit susceptible to the older face breakage?
Well, I'm glad you've mentioned that, Steve, because it was when I had it in my head, that was one of the things I was going to say when it came on, that, you know, and the guy said, he's asked the questioner, he said he doesn't think it's a case that he's just, that there must be some congenital defect there. But I was just thinking about it, and I was like, to have the same injury in the other eye, well, it's not actually, it's the eye socket, isn't it? But, you know, to me, I think there must be, like, I'm no medical expert or anything, like, but to me, there must be, I was just thinking, there must be some defect that he has, or just whatever, there must be some, maybe his bone density isn't as what other people's is, but whatever the case is, I have to say, what pisses me off, now, I'm with you, Steve, on the whole question of the quit. I'm sort of the same position as you, but what does my head in is whenever people say just totally overlook the fact that these injuries are caused by punches. They're caused by punches. Like, that's part of the game. It's the same thing that happened in the Front and Quick fight. They're talking about, if Quick hadn't broke his jaw. But I remember saying to you in conversation, Steve, many a time, you're like, that injury was caused by Carl punching him in the jaw. It just like, the Brook in the Golovkin fight, it was a jab in the second round, landed right on the eye. And last night, Brook, it was the 6th or 7th round. He got punched, the southpaw jab, which was so effective all night. It was landing just straight over on top of above Brook's left shoulder, right onto that eye socket. And it's interesting because people were saying in terms of while I agree with you, Steve, on the point of question of the quitting thing, that what I would say is it's easy to say this with the benefit of hindsight, but for me, we all are aware of this talk of these angle fighters that can switch southpaw and all the rest of it. But for me, Brook, if he had been thinking straight, maybe I don't know if he was or not, but if he had a switch southpaw for those last couple of rounds, he probably could have found a way of fiddling his way through to the end of the fight and making the 12 rounds, because it was what he was trying to. You could see what he was trying to do for most of the fight. He was trying to get Spence to fall short with that right jab and counter over the top of it with his own jab, but he mistimed it, and Spence's lead right jab, it just landed over his shoulder and on that left. But if he had turned southpaw for the last couple of rounds, he could have got to the end of the fight, I think. But I think there's some sort of I don't disagree with like what Tommy said about he was getting tired probably with he was gassing a bit probably with the the getting down to welterweight was probably it was taking its toll on him, and it's probably a combination. I do think he was he probably it was a combination that the injury probably gave him the it was a mixture really, I think. But just one thing I want to say in terms of so there was a guy on last night on the pod last night. I don't know what his name was, but he made a very salient point about if Brook moves up. I know there's a lot of talk about him retiring and everything, but if he moves up to like 11 stone, there's a lot of fights as fight fans, and I hesitate to use the word hardcore, but as fans, we would like to see, like, for example, the Charlos. There's one of the Charlos has moved up the middleweight, Jamal, but there's another guy, Jamel, he's the WBC champion. I would personally, I'd love to see him and Brook at 11 stone. I think that's a great fight. But the point is, is Brook going to have the motivation to train for a fight like that when it's not going to be very lucrative, is it? Like, it's not a pay-per-view fight, whatever way on either side of the Atlantic. And it's really a question of the one thing I want to say very quickly as well, Steve, is like last week when I was on, I didn't say it, but I disagreed with the people who were saying last week that Brook's heart wasn't really in it. But I have to say, I think I was wrong, because I think last night showed that, I think it's probably true. He's not really in the game for the reasons that Spence is in. You see Spence, you can tell he wants to leave a legacy. He's in the game for the right reasons, whereas I think last night was sort of, I think he made the decision that his eyesight was more important, and I think on that basis, if that's the decision that he made, he probably should think about retiring, because if you're making that sort of decision, it's probably time to pack it in. But I'm biased because I like Brook. I think he's very, and I can, I do like him as a fighter, but I agree at the same time what Tommy said. But it was unacceptable what he did after Colin got knocked out by Canelo. Like, you can't overlook that. What he did that time wasn't nice. Like, but yeah, I've had him say.
No problem. Stay on the line, Dominic. I'm going to bring Ben in here, okay?
No, boss.
No problem. Ben, it is you, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah, it's me, Steve. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
No problem. Good to hear from you. You were actually there in attendance last night.
Yeah, well, mate, yeah, it was a crap view, but we had a good night. I will go to George Groves one, because I don't like George Groves. I think he's no relevance, but the Brook fight, for me, I think his venture up to 160 has done him in. You know, I think GGG smashed one half of his face in, and then Errol Spence smashed the other half in. And I thought maybe the towel could have gone in as well from Ingle. He did it. We did it in GGG fight. I thought he might have done it last night as well.
Yeah, so where do you stand on the whole thing then? Have you exonerated Kell, or do you think he should have maybe tried to fight on? As Dominic said, he maybe hadn't got legacy in mind when he made that decision.
Yeah, I think I agree with a lot of what your last guy said. I mean, I think it was Andy said last week in build-up, he don't think Kell's heart's in it. And I didn't really agree with that, but maybe he's right. I think he probably is right. He took that knee, didn't he? And he stood up
that, mate. You know I'm right.
Yeah, I think you're on it now. He stood up on 9, didn't he, knowing then that he were gonna get counted out, but he could say, well, I got back up. But if I were Kell, I'd retire. I've no interest in that 154 division. I think it is an awful division, and he's proven he can't fight at middleweight. So if I were Kell, I'd think, nah, I've had enough of this. I'd take my money and run if I were Kell.
And what if you were Errol Spence? What would you be looking at next?
It's got to be Thurman. I'll be very disappointed if it's not Thurman next for Errol Spence. I was not sold on Errol Spence at all in the build-up to this. I thought Kell would have his way with him, but I was very impressed with Spence last night. I've only seen Spence against Bundu and Algieri, and I think they're both shit. But last night he really stepped up, did Spence. I thought it was very good.
So who would you make the favourite if Spence were to fight Thurman?
I think Spence. I thought Kell Brook was, well, I had Kell Brook as the best welterweight before last night, so I'd have to say Spence beats Thurman.
Right. And what about the atmosphere and everything, Ben? What was it like in there? I know the crowd had been criticised for a few antics.
It was not good. It was casual city. Because it was more of a chess match than a tear-up. There were no people. The comments I heard last night, it was painful. The Fowler fight, the Anthony Fowler fight, where he smacks the guy in the balls. This dick behind me is screaming. He's screaming some absolute shit about why ain't the ref counting, why is he getting so long? And I'm thinking, oh, fucking execute this. It was bad. I've been to a few of these big events now. I've been to Triple G Brook, and that one last night. I think I might have been to. They're all the same. The people that go to these Eddie Hearn cards are not the people you want to watch boxing with.
Tommy, remember we were at Frampton against Quigg and we had these fucking...
Oh, that was the other one I went to, yeah. That was the other one. Yeah,
I swear to God, I thought it was a setup. Basically, what it was this guy, and he was like ragdolling his missus about the fucking row and that. I think there was drink all over the place, and there was arguing with his mates and stuff. And I said to Tommy, I think this is a come on. Basically, as we're going to step in here on behalf of the woman, then the guy's piling on top of us and start fucking dipping my pockets. Basically, hey, seen it before? Fucking shower of cunts.
Nice. Yeah, it's bad news. It's not.
Did you get your tickets off StubHub, Ben?
Did I get my tickets? I went down and queued 2 hours for that, and then my mate queued an hour and 20 minutes to get a beer in ground last night. I says, fuck that. They just walked out at queue.
£5 a pint.
20 minutes.
How much was it a pint?
£5.
I think it was a £5, and they'd run out of lager, and they'd run out of this, and it was just watered down nag's piss, and it was a £5, and it was an hour and a half queue to get it. Next pay-per-view, I am on the telly. I'm on Team Stream. I'm not going to another one now.
Welcome.
I watched last night on. I'll give him a wee shout out here. XME forums. £3 it cost me. I watched the whole pay-per-view. It was crystal clear. All you've got to do is sign up, pay £3 with the PayPal. The name again is XME forums. Crystal clear streams, HD quality, perfect sound, no lag. Get on it.
Definitely. Just don't go to these big Eddie Hearn events, because the quality of people that go there are just low lives. There's no other word for it.
Worse than us.
The apologies of human life.
Right, Ben, is there anything else you want to add before we move on?
Yeah, I'll just say that these casuals that go to these big fights, they want the tear-ups, but generally the big pay-per-views like this Spence Brook fight, it were never going to be a tear-up. It were going to be a chess match. So they're then barred. They've paid 50 quid to be there, and they're then barred to tears. And no, never again.
Never again, says Ben. Well, thanks for coming on. You're always welcome here.
Thanks a lot, Steve. See you later, boys.
Cheers, Ben. See you later.
That was surprising that he said the atmosphere was so bad. I mean, because usually that's the one thing that seems to be so exciting to me about some of these UK fights is you get all these people in a stadium. It's supposed to be quite an experience. I mean, I think everyone who left the AJ Joshua fight certainly spoke highly of the experience. I mean, is that something new, or is that just maybe a one-off type of a thing?
I think that the atmosphere tends to be quite low key until the main sort of fights come on, don't they? And then everyone gets pumped up for it because a lot of people are off having a piss or getting a drink and stuff. They're not interested in the undercard. A lot of the boyos who are going there.
Yeah, but that's
Sweet Caroline comes on.
See, if you watch the undercard, the seats aren't filled until the end because people are, out partying or whatever.
Yeah, it's just a regular phenomenon, I think, Donny. But if you were there, you didn't. I mean, the Frampton fights that he was having, before, even when he was with Eddie and the early Cyclone ones, the atmosphere was absolutely amazing. And just get the crowds or you don't, I suppose. Anyway, Donny, stay on the line. I want you to get all fluffed up for this question. This is right up your street from Lestin Venables. He says, out of the Olympic teams in 2012, America and against the UK, which team is better pro-career? So I suppose which team from America or UK in the 2012 Olympics are having the better pro-careers so far? And don't worry, Donny. I've done my homework for you. I'm going to read them out to you, okay? You ready?
Oh, this is to me? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you're Donny, aren't you?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
That's okay. Right, so we've got the UK squad. We've got Andrew Selby, Luke Campbell, Josh Taylor, Tom Stalker, Fred Evans, Anthony Ogogo, Anthony Joshua, and the females were Nicola Adams, Natasha Jonas, and Savannah Marshall. And then we've got the American team, which was Marlon Esparza, Roshi Warren, Joe Diaz Jr., Queen Underwood, Jose Ramirez, Jamel Herring, Errol Spence Jr., Clarissa Shields, Terrell Gosha, Marcus Brown, Michael Hunter, and Dominic Brazil. Who's doing better? Which team as a collective?
There's at least 3 ex or reigning champs for the American side on that list, I thought I can count and remember anyway.
Yeah, I believe that's correct. Yeah. I would have to say the USA gets that one by a nose, but these guys still have careers to go, so we'll see where they end up.
Any comments on that, Andy? Michael Hunter, we saw go in hell for leather with Usyk. Dominic Brazil's done okay as a sort of gatekeeper. That's maybe a bit harsh. Marcus Brown's all right. Gosha, don't know about him. Spencer's done well. Herring, not so good.
Gosha, was he not the one that fought that Ricky Han fighter, the Kazakhstani guy, and got beaten points?
No, that was Roshi Warren, wasn't it?
That was Roshi Warren.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I can't remember Taro Gauchi then. Was he the next world champion then, though?
No, I know the name. I can't remember who he's fought. Can anybody else remember?
Who's on the British side again?
Let me look. Right, you've got Andrew Selby, who won on Friday night. He's close to a world title shot. You've got Luke Campbell. He's done okay. Josh Taylor's fighting Ohio Davis. Tom Stalker hasn't moved across at all. Fred Evans didn't look any great shakes. Anthony Ogogo, lol. Anthony Joshua, give him his credit, knocked out Klitschko. It's got to be the American side, hasn't it?
I suppose you need to be the American side, but I think if you want to pick out one top one, it's got to be on the British side with Joshua.
Yeah. Any comments, Thomas?
Right now the Americans, but I think the British team's got more potential and will probably do better.
I'll do. Let's move on. We've got Bryn on the line. Bryn, it's always good to hear from you. How are you keeping?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, Bryn. We're talking anything you want, really, but your thoughts and assessments on the Kell Brook Errol Spence fight?
Great fight. I thought both guys fought very valiantly. It just seemed as if Brook wasn't able, he just didn't have the punching power to really hurt Spence. Was able to land. I thought he showed a lot of effectiveness, especially early on, but Spence proved to be too much for him, and Brooks just wasn't able to really, it seemed like he couldn't even stun Spence when he was landing cleanly. And Spence's speed and power just overwhelmed him. And I guess now he's got the other eye with some serious problems. I thought it was a very, very fun fight to watch. You had, 30,000 people? I heard the number kind of moving around, but great event. I wish Amir Khan would sort of step up at this point and fight Brook. It feels as if they could probably sell out Wembley. Am I way off in that to think that there's still...
Yeah.
No chance.
Yeah,
that's not going to happen. That fight just makes absolutely nothing just now, next to nothing. They both need to rebuild, don't they?
I don't think it was a Wembley fight, even when it was touted the first time, and it wouldn't even fill Wembley then, and right now it wouldn't even fill fucking Wimbledon.
It wasn't. Hearn said he was only putting £10 million up for it for the fight. That just shows you it wasn't going to be a big pay-per-view and a big Wembley fight. I don't think.
What if you had Pacquiao come in there and fight Amir Khan at this point? Do you think a fight like that, of that kind of... I understand it's not of much relevance, particularly in terms of the landscape of elite welterweights, but I feel as if a fight like that could be immensely marketable in the UK.
I think it would sell out the O2 Arena, and it would do good prime time pay-per-view numbers.
Yeah.
You don't think that Pacquiao could come and sell out a stadium, Tommy?
Depends what stadium. I wouldn't fall into the big stadiums. I wouldn't get anywhere near it. Amir Khan's never really been a huge ticket seller over here. He's had his fair of good shows and that, but he's never been a big star. And right now he's coming off the Canelo loss as well. And a lot of people over here have forgot about Amir Khan right now. And Pacquiao, well, after the Mayweather fight and that as well, his stock's not the highest level as well, so I think just with name value alone, the two of them could do the O2 Arena and they'd shift a few pay-per-view units, but it's not going to go near Wembley Stadium. It's never going to follow that.
That's interesting.
Bryn, where do you think both fighters go from here, Brook and then Spence?
Well, Spence, I feel like the sky's the limit. I don't think Thurman is going to want any part of him after this performance. I think he just showed that he's still improving, and the way he was able to pick up the pace in the middle of that fight was frightening. That he had that extra gear against a guy I've never seen Brook look in better condition, and just was completely overwhelmed by what Spence was able to do. It was really, really impressive. I'd put him in the top 5 pound for pound right now with that performance.
Top 5?
As far as Brook. Sorry, go ahead.
I said top 5, really?
I just the optics of what he was able to do. I was just really... didn't he look more dominant than an Andre Ward? I understand Ward has a much better resume, but just straight up where they're at right now, I think Spence is a much more dangerous fighter than Ward is.
Optics, no pun intended there, Bryn.
This is true.
Did you see anything of the card in Chicago by any chance? The old Mike Alvarado, Saucedo, Conlon?
I wasn't able to, not yet.
No problem. Stay on the line for as long as you wish, Bryn, as long as you can keep you for.
Mm-hmm.
We will go back to the Brook and Spence fight at some point because we've got a few more questions. But just moving on to that other one. Friday night, Andy, Tommy, did you see anything this one? Michael Conlon knocking out an overmatched opponent in the third round. Alfredo Chanez.
Yeah,
Mike Alvarado as well, beating Matthew Strode. Alex Saucedo is a bit of a prospect. Still only fighting at 8-round level. Take it away, Andy.
I just seen the Conley fight, but as you say, it looked like a wee kind of guy who's been dragged off the street and put in the ring with Conlon. But it's, as Mick says on here, and it's quite clear. I think they're going to take their time with him and give him some pro experience, let him kind of gel with his new trainer and stuff before they start stepping him up.
Sure, Andy.
See that game, mate?
So they said, Macklin said that he's going to the Pacquiao undercard in Brisbane, and they're going to put him in with, a step up.
No, that'll be good anyway. So we'll wait and see who it's going to be. But they say any world title fight is not going to happen to 2019 for what they say anyway. So, but Was that you saying that was the card that Alvarado was on? Did anybody see what he looked like? But what I hear, he's met him in a good place right now, actually, after all his drugs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think we universally agree there, Andy, that it's better to see Alvarado in a good place. Nobody wants to see anybody self-imploding like he was, but this Strode wasn't really up to much. He hadn't really got much punch resistance, unfortunately.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know.
I don't suppose I'll watch it anyway.
Yeah, no, I don't know where they're going to do with Alvarado. It's this Saucedo is more interest to me. He's 24-0, I think, or 25-0 with 16 knockouts. He won an 8-rounder, so hopefully they're going to step him up soon. And this Egidius Kavaliauskas as well got another knockout against Daniel Echeverria. I'm liking the look of this Kavaliauskas. Apparently, I know that the Boxing Rant, Kenny, and that was saying to me a while ago to keep an eye on this guy, and he seems to be moving quite quickly.
Yeah, Lithuanian kid.
Yeah, he seems decent. What about Conlon overall, Dominic? Were you can't really take too much from that opponent, can you?
No, you can't really take too much from it. See, I just, I don't want to be too hard on the kid, but like I just think that he's putting too much pressure on himself. Like I know he's had him on and everything, and I remember one time about this time last year, Steve, it was about a month before the Olympics, and I was in Belfast and the Orange were out marching, and I couldn't get a taxi up the university, so I walked up and I walked past Nando's, and Mick was in with a daughter and the partner, and I called in. I wished them well, for the Olympics and everything. But to me, I just think he got a big boost off the Olympics and everything that happened. But I was always skeptical in the sense that people were talking as if he hadn't have been robbed, he was a cert for the gold medal. When in reality, he had to beat Stevenson and the Cuban Ramirez, Roxy Ramirez, and to me, I didn't think it was a clear. To me, I didn't think it was a shame that he was going to win either of those fights. And I don't get me wrong, I want the guy to do well, but like the stuff mentioned himself in the same sentence as Frampton and everything, I just think is, Card's been very diplomatic about it. He sort of said, you need confidence in this game, and Mick's a great fighter and everything, but it's sort of unnecessary. Like, he doesn't really need to do it. But the one thing I would say about him is he's a big fella, Mick. He's 5'8", and I don't think he should be trying to get himself down to 122 super bantamweight. I mean, I know they have time to make that decision properly, but to me, I think he should probably campaign at feather. But I think Mick, I think he should. I'm glad if this is true that Macklin's saying they're going to step him up, I think they should do that, because it's a waste of time to fight these guys that are just coming to mess about and make things awkward. And he should be in with someone who's trying to throw back something like. But it's going to be interesting. Yeah. Like, but it's sort of. I stayed up to watch that card, and you're talking about the guy Saucedo, and like, it's funny when once he sort of comes out and says these things, like he says opinions, and he says them with the sort of certainty that they're incontestable. He sort of said this guy Saucedo, Abel Sanchez, is a very smart guy. You won't let this guy anywhere near Jack Cottrell. He sort of comes out with these things. Maybe it's true or not. I don't know, but like it's sort of like he just comes out with these things that no one can take him up on. We Barry and Steve Lillis, they're not gonna pull him up on it. Like, I don't know.
No, I think on the Conlon points, you are right. He came in at 124.5 on Friday night, so maybe he could grill down to super bantam for as long as he can. But he does put too much pressure on himself. Jamie's the same. Mick's there giving himself F and G out of 10 grades and stuff, and you do get that impression.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Lillis said something after the fight where he was sort of saying you'll give it another 12 months and we'll see if Mick's sort of cut out for the game. And I was like, well, that's. I thought I was being harsh, but Lillis is being. But it's sort of thing. You remember when Frampton's first fights? Frampton was fighting in places like Huddersfield and Sunderland, and anyone who Maharafelt, which over here is the middle of nowhere for anyone who doesn't know where Maharafelt is. It's sort of back and beyond over here in Ulster. But there was no pressure on Carl coming up. There was, apart from the fact obviously that he was being managed by Barry McGuigan, but there was no sort of he could make mistakes in his apprenticeship, so to speak, and learn from it. But the thing what Mick says about a fight with Frampton, in all likelihood, Carl's going to be retired before Mick gets to that level. And I thought it was very funny. I wasn't at the press conference where Todd DeBoeuf came over. I think you were at it, Steve.
I
you know,
was, yeah, I was.
And someone asked a question about, you know, in the audience, someone asked about Carl, and Todd DeBoeuf was very, I thought it was very funny. He was very sort of adamant that, you know, he said, we're not in the frontman business. We're in the business of making our own stars, and we're not going to be piggybacking off, you know, anyone sort of thing. But the one thing I want to say, you know, Gary was saying about the Fowler fight, and it was that referee. I remember I was watching it on Twitter, and there was about 3 fights in a row with those Olympians where there was late blows and everything.
Yeah.
And it was funny because that referee is that guy. I think he's called Latham, but he's
John
shocking
Latham.
referee.
Yeah.
He's shocking because he was basically he was just you know, he was giving the guys, he wasn't calling them for, you know, low blows, but the problem was, if you remember the Cordina, you know, in the Cordina fight, it wasn't as bad, but he didn't shout. What he did was he shouted break, but he didn't shout it anywhere near loud enough, and that's why Cordina hit the guy when the guy was sort of you know, it was the guy Latham. It was his fault on that occasion because he was saying, just basically whispered it. It just reminded me of, you know, I remember Andy talking about the fight between Emmanuel Taylor and Matisse on the Chavez Canelo undercard a few weeks back, and there was a time in that fight that was funny. Jay Nady was refereeing it, and there was a time when he wanted them to break. It was him shouting break. It was like the whole arena was just basically stunned. And he just shouted loud, and then right after it, he was just like, carry. He was so nice. He was all like, you know, carry on. And I go ahead, Steve.
You need a bit of Jay Nady in your life, Dominic. We'll get you on next week, okay?
Take care, Steve.
See you later. Right, boys. Andy, this Channel 5 card, did you see anything of it on the Friday night?
I did, mate. I seen a fair wee bit. Yeah, I was disappointed though. The fight I really wanted to see was actually delayed over an hour and a half. That was shocking, man. Imagine having to fucking put a full card on like that, and it cuts to like an hour's advert break, so to speak. Fuck's sake.
That was Kennedy Askin.
Yeah.
I'm going to give Askin his credit here, Andy. You know, I think he's epitomised the fact that it doesn't matter if you get a few losses on your record. We all know this, but the unbeaten record doesn't mean anything. There's Matty Askin, 21 wins, 3 losses and 1 draw. People have been writing this guy off, and he's gone and beaten 2 prospects in his last 2 fights. Tommy McCarthy first in a British title eliminator, and then he's knocked out 16-0 with 8 knockouts, Craig Kennedy, on his own patch. You've got to give it to Askin. He's come back. He's learnt from his experiences. He was being built up a little bit at the beginning of his career. You know, Ricky Hatton was in charge. He was a big puncher. And he came a cropper a couple of times, 3 times, in fact. But he came back, and he was impressive on Friday night. And the way he dealt with that Kennedy, although saying that, Kennedy was poor. You know, he couldn't get his hands up. He was moving the wrong way in the ring. Even I noticed that before Richie Woodall even mentioned it. He was moving into the right hand time and time again. But props to Askin anyway on that one, Andy.
As you say, mate, he was getting a bit of hype early in his career until he got beat up Dickinson, and obviously he went to make Poland. They got stopped in the late doors against Golacki. Kennedy, I thought was poor, mate. To me, he didn't look like he looked like a fighter that's probably just took up the gloves like the last couple of years or whatever.
He's novice, yeah.
Oh, his balance was off. His foot movement was awful. When they got chinned, he didn't know how to hold or tie up and stuff. I just thought it was pretty poor. But as you say, mate, you can't knock Askin, because you would thought after the McKenzie defeat, he could easily went into obscurity after that. I think he even had a fight. Did you have a fight that kind of fell through, or did he stop kind of early doors or whatever as well?
Asking, I'm trying to think of his defeats.
Just doesn't matter, but then, as you say,
Oval beat him, didn't he? Oval beat him.
Dickinson, and he had a draw as well, with somebody.
That's the draw I'm thinking about. I think it was a Bennett or something like his name was. But anyways, so it says, asking. Apparently, all he wanted to do is pay for a house there, so he's done that. British cruiserweight title. So you just wonder, maybe. I really don't know yet about domestically. Obviously he'll need to defend the title and stuff, because that title was vacated by Oval McKenzie. So I would think over the next fight, I would imagine maybe a rematch. I was going to say, mate, either that is going to have a rematch with McCarthy, but then McCarthy's fighting Mike Perez, is it a couple of weeks' time or something?
Yeah, on the 10th, yeah. So
really, I mean, domestically, cruiserweight isn't really all that thick. Maybe Stevie Simmons or maybe Waddy Camacho or actually Chamberlain.
Did you see that fucking Mike Perez picture, by the way?
That's suspect as fuck. Like,
He does look tremendous. But you're right. I mean, he was pretty fat before, and now he's ripped cruiserweight. I mean, it's possible. I mean, he was kind of fat, right? I mean, people can lose weight, but
let's go, champ.
Here, Tommy, taking us back to Friday night there, I've been critical in the past of Andrew Selby, but I'm going to give him his props on Friday. That was a really good 12-round fight. I enjoyed it. Selby showed some excellent moves. He got hit at times. Not sure how ready he is for world class, but that Rosales was a real good come-forward fighter, and that was a very good fight. Very impressed with Selby and the opponent.
That was a wee bit. I got checked for him there on Friday, and he passed it. He's got the skills, he's got the speed, and that. I don't think he's the hardest hitter in the world, but that was a really good tough opponent last night. He was bigger than him. He was longer than him, and it caused him a lot. And he was doing that, and I thought it was quite. He said he wasn't hurt, but I thought he was a wee bit buzzed early in that fight. But fair play to him. I'd like to see him get his hands up a bit more. He's in there. I think he's Lomachenko. He's a good fighter. He's a very good fighter, in fact. But he's no Lomachenko. I'd like to see him get the hands up a bit more. And for somebody that fights in that style, his defence. I think his defence is poor. He's somebody that's going to get hit a lot, isn't he?
Yeah. See, the only thing I've got to really kind of gripe about him is this constant switching of stances and stuff. That doesn't work for me, because simple fact is this: if you're constantly switching stances, you need to be exceptionally good with your foot movement to get yourself on balance straight away if you're going to do that constantly. And I don't think he does it. And that's what I think doesn't really kind of allow his power shots to kind of really show. So I think, they say, I don't mind switch hitters. Terence Crawford does it, but Terence Crawford seems to kind of he comes out and he'll stay in that stance for a fair wee bit. He maybe switch just to kind of get a different look, maybe look for some wee openings and then maybe kind of revert back. But this constant jigging back and forward for southpaw to orthodox and stuff, he needs to stop a wee bit, I think, because I think he's going to end up coming a cropper, I think, up at world level. Potentially, anyway. I mean, I know they're talking about Higa next, but that wasn't a final eliminator there last night. I think it'll be at least another year, I think, before he's fighting for world honours, unless they really want to push it and then it becomes a voluntary. But at the minute, Higa's been pushing Gonzalez and Inoue close in sparring, so that's not boding well if you're Andrew Selby, like.
Final card from the weekend of interest, unless anybody wants to add anything in. Julio Ceja knocked out Anselmo Moreno in the third round in Panama. A bit of a surprise, Andy. Do you think it was so early?
Yeah, it was surprised he got knocked out so early. Aye, definitely. It was stopped. He was stopped in the third round. It was a good shot. It was a left uppercut basically, and it kind of caught him the right side of the face, and it kind of twisted his neck round, and they went down for a full 10 count. He didn't think there was anything really that wrong with him, and he counted out. He got up on his feet and walked back to the corner. He gave it his all against Yamanaka in his last fight. I think that's him done now at world level, and it's sad to say he's only 31-year-old. But you think about it, he's got something like he's got well over 40 fights in his record. He's always mainly had to go the distance in most of those fights. I mean, he's went the distance with Sermano twice, Monzapur, Sidorenko, Santos. I think he went Sidorenko twice, Rojas. He's had a very tough career. He's had to travel for a fair bit of some of those fights as well. Germany and Japan, America, Victor Chinin as well, Abner Mares. He's had it tough. And so I just think now it's one step too far, I think, now. So I think, if anything, he's just going to be one of those guys that maybe keep his ranking for a little bit longer, but he's going to be a gatekeeper now.
There's your mate on the chat. That's Sean Miller. He's talking shit about you on the chat.
What chat, mate?
On the YouTube chat.
All right.
Okay.
I'm listening about. I know what 1 hour behind, but Andy, get in touch, or I'll be telling everyone you ducked. Fucking keyboard warrior.
Donna, you want to add anything?
No, I was just gonna say, it's amazing. It feels like it's just a couple of years ago, like Moreno was like, a boogeyman and kind of like one of the most avoided guys in boxing, with incredible skills. I mean, he wasn't the most exciting fighter in the world, but and maybe for that reason, he didn't get a lot of fights. Or at least on his terms, like Andy was saying, he had to travel, and then just to hear that he got knocked out last night, just surprising. I mean, that guy, like, I think rose pretty fast and seemed like he said he's only 31. It just surprised me.
Okay. Anything else from the weekend that I might have missed before I bring Rob Kelly in?
Salido.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Did anybody see him getting knocked down there last night off that uppercut? What a fucking
No.
shot it was! Oh, you just watch it just for the uppercut alone. He got hit with this uppercut for the depths of hell, and I swear to God, his knees buckled just like a building coming down on top of itself. And that, I think he was knocked out very well, it was for a nanosecond or whatever, because he got up, staggered forward, and they go and take another knee to take the full 8 count before he go back up. But then they come back, just maybe the last 20 seconds of that round, started winning it and stuff, and he just basically, as Salido does, brutalised the body and that, and made the guy quit in the corner, eh?
He goes down a lot, Salido, but he reminds me a bit of Marquez and like Joe Calzaghe. He can look hurt, but the powers of recovery are unbelievable. He comes back, he was kind of snaps out it quick, doesn't he?
He does, mate. But honestly, you need to just. I think it was the second round he got knocked down in. First or second round, oh, what a shot it was!
Tommy, the fact that Salido keeps going down a lot, but getting back up again with his powers of recovery, does that mean he's got a good chin or a bad chin?
I think it's a good chin. When I put somebody doing a bad chin, it's people that get hit and stay hit. Anybody can go down and get hurt on that. That's a given. It's the ones that snap out it really quickly, like a Marquez, like we've seen a Calzaghe or a Salido. They're the guys that have got. They're the guys I think have proven their chins. People talk. I mean, a couple of years ago, I was talking to people about like David Price and Tyson Fury and that, especially around the time when Fury went down against Cunningham and that. That was a belter I dig that Cunningham. I don't care who you are. A 200-pound man catches with that shot, you're going on your ass, especially as a professional fighter. And you seem to recover very quickly. I think it's the ones that recover quickly that have got the good chins.
It's always good to have Rob Kelly on the line. Rob, feel free to speak on whatever you wish. It's good to hear from you.
Yo, what's the crack, lads?
Not too bad. Go ahead there, Rob.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to the point on Conlon about kind of wanting to see him stepped up. I think it's difficult for him because of the hype around him. You know what I mean? I mean, the promoters over there are crying out for kind of Irish fighters. You bet your life that like this McGregor thing in the UFC is after making Irish guys stock go up out there when you can see how they're moving tickets and everything. And he's kind of a victim of that. It's a bit of a gift and a curse. It's a gift that he's with such a big machine like Top Rank, but people automatically think that they want to see him get in with better guys. And he probably is way better than the guys he's fighting at the moment, but he has to learn the pro game. Like, his credentials are he won the World Amateur Championship and didn't get the Olympic medal, so he still has to learn the pro ropes, like, you know what I mean? So I mean, it's just a pity that like his fights are going to be, there's going to be such, the McGregor walking him out the first night, the big, the tickets are sold out the door, so everywhere he goes in the States, they're going to be going out to see him, and there's going to be high expectation on him. And I saw kind of similar stuff said about Shakur Stevenson too. The Americans want to see him kind of fast track. There's no hurry. I'm looking at like what Jason Quigley is doing, what Golden Boy are doing with Jason Quigley, and he had a world medal too, and didn't go for the Olympics. Took it, and I admire the Irish guys that are going over there out of the amateur program. I think we could have even gone earlier. I don't think the Olympics has the same significance anymore. In terms of making money, if you want to rob a bank, you have to go in and get the money. You know what I mean? So, but I like kind of the pace they're pacing Quigley at, and I like to see Conlon moved at the same pace, because I think he could be a world champion.
Fair enough, Rob. What about Kell Brook and Errol Spence? You were on last night. You want to reiterate any points?
Yeah, no, I just watched it back again today because I was out like over the last, as I mentioned there, for the weekend pretty much. So I was kind of watching it in pieces. I thought it was a fantastic fight. Like, I liked the battle of the jabs in the first 4 rounds. It was kind of like, I liked, that Brook was countering the jab and then Spence was countering his counter. It was great to watch. Like, and it's brilliant to see Spence step up to it and kind of deliver on his big night. And you have to say his stock has gone up because, half of, those in the know obviously knew what he was capable of. We had to see, was he going to be able to pull it off? Like, was he going to be able to impose his will and his game plan on Brook, who's, a top guy at 147, but half a boxing timeline that I'm looking at, I thought he was Jeff Lacey last week, and now he's the best thing since fried bread. You know what I mean? He's the new Mayweather. So it just goes to show you how fickle boxing fans are, aren't they?
Can be quite fickle. Rob, anything else you want to add in before we get one of our other guests on?
What was I going to say as well there? Yeah, I saw the Salido fight, the end of it. He is an absolute goonie. I'd love to see like a CAT scan done on his skull. He's been a pro since he's 15 or something, hasn't he? Like, so
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
the rounds he's gone through, the wars he's been in, and he still made the other guy quit. Like, you know what I mean? I think Lomachenko would dust him off if they ever got that rematch on now. But
it's meant to be happening. Yeah, that's going to happen, isn't it? Apparently next, I think.
Is that next year? I think that could be even like I think that could be a stoppage, like inside of 6 rounds or something. I think like he probably dared to be hit too much by Lomachenko now. But what a guy! Like,
Rob, stay on the line. I've got plenty more left for you.
Cool.
Donnie, did you want to say something briefly?
Oh no! I was just going to add in just a comment that it was funny. You were talking about people saying, well, Conlon's not being moved quickly enough. I mean, what happened when, and of course, Lomachenko is even more accomplished. Hello? An even more accomplished amateur than Conlon. And look what happened when they moved him too fast, right? He didn't learn the program and he lost the sleep, and that was obviously not, a major, blow to like what Top Rank was trying to do. I mean, I guess I'm just saying, yeah, I don't think that, I think that Lomachenko example scare people off from moving a little bit too fast with a prospect like Conlon, who clearly has a lot of promise.
Well said, Donnie. Right, let's get Big Russ in the equation. He's been writing some notes. How's it going, Russ?
I'm alright. How are you doing?
Not too bad. What do you want to say about last night? You're going to give Kel some props?
Yeah, well, obviously, as I told you yesterday afternoon, I bought it $16.95.
He bought the pay-per-view, everybody. He bought the pay-per-view.
I know, yeah, casual. I had a problem with my
fucking
computer.
casual.
I had no choice but to sit downstairs and watch it. But come out of my little den. Eddie calls them dens that we live in, doesn't he? But anyway, I had an accumulator. Everybody knows that, a Coley, Fowler, Groves, Townend, Cox, Dave Allen and Spence. Only one person let me down, fucking Dave Allen. Anyway, he swerved me this morning, but I pulled him. Come here, you boy.
How much would you have gotten?
He's got off a date coming next week, if any, but he's got one more chance. But if you remember, Steve, I did say to you the other day, I said to David, why are you going over Steatley Quarries, David, on a Thursday? It's red hot. He's got these 18-year-old lads he knocks about with. They don't drive. They're just walking in the sun that beats down onto Limestone Quarry. And I walk my dog over there and I'm like, fucking drenched when I come back. They went right over to Wormser from near Sprotborough and back. It's like 3 hours in the afternoon. Is he fucking out his mind? And then yesterday, he's in town centre at 11 o'clock, but 10 in the morning he's in bed. But yeah, 11 o'clock he's in town and I'm doing selfies and he's draining, isn't it?
Yeah.
His preparation has not been good. But getting to Kel Brook, fucking hellfire. Listen, take the Porter win away from Kel Brook. He's had 38 fights. Who has he fucking beat? He's been the most protected guy in this country for all his life. Frank Warren protected him for years. He were knocking back. I told you on your show, 9 guys he knocked back. He were knocking them all back. Remember that Mike Jones and Randall Bailey? He knocked them back, didn't he? Back in day. They were his managers, weren't they? He's knocked more fights back. Tim Bradley, Devin Alexander 3 times. Amir Khan fight. Everybody knows he knocked the Khan fight back. To check this fight up last night. He's no bollocks. Now, he quit against Triple G, didn't he? But the day before, Eddie Hearn was saying what? He's a fucking beast. He's a monster. He spars Frotch. He spars cleverly. He's a beast. Well, he quit against fucking Triple G, didn't he? And he quit last night at 147. So what is it, 154? He's a fucking quitter, mate. 36-2. And I'm struggling to find a good win on his record. That's the bottom line. Sean Porter went out to be King Kong when Kel hugged him to death. Well, let me tell you about Sean Porter, shall I? His KO percentage is 56.8. Now, he's hardly fucking George Foreman, is he? 56.8. Get that fucker out there. Sean Porter is fucking dog shite. Fucking dog shite. All this about fucking chocolate brownies and all that. Well, they threw them all at him, didn't they? Chocolate brownies. Did you see it on fucking on Sky? They were launching them, weren't they, over at fucking where all commentators were?
He took them home and ate them.
Chocolate brownies, but I heard all these excuses, Steve, last night. He's drained at the weight, or he's having flashbacks, or he's tight at the weight, or he got stabbed 3 years ago, or he's never been the same since he fought Porter. That was fucking over 3 years ago, wasn't it? His eye, both his eyes, He sparred Jamie Cox. He got caught at a funny angle in Ventura's sparring. You know, he fucking struggled with Lewis Taylor, Jamie Cox. It's just one excuse after another. He's fucking dog shite, mate. Dog shite.
Ross, let me bring in our American contributor, Donny Baseball, here.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Donny.
I'm here.
You unmuted yourself. I thought you were ready to let fly.
Oh! I did that by accident. No.
Ross, let me just get rid of our American contributor, Donny Baseball. Please continue. Ross, who was having the better time last night, you or Callie Sauerland?
Me or Callie Sauerland? I think Callie Sauerland had a good night because he delivered for Groves, didn't he, really?
Yeah.
No, but Callie was on the good stuff last night.
Eddie did he deliver for Kel? They threw Kel under the bus, didn't he? Because Kel dug his heels in about that fight. But we all know that he didn't want to fight Errol Spence, don't we? Everybody in boxing, all knows, all hardcores do, Eddie and a lot. He didn't want to fight Errol Spence. None of them do they? And we've seen last night why. But they got a judge in Howard Foster, and he's a pal of mine, Howard Foster, but he was letting Kel hold him money for 7 rounds. He was getting away with all sorts of holding money. It was shocking. But once that Errol Spence got his range, he just beat him down. It was a beat. Dave Caldwell's on ITV, so it was a beat down, wasn't it, on IFL? It broke him down, didn't it? And Kel just didn't want to know no more. I'm not saying he's a quitter as in he's a coward, because he's a fighter, isn't he? But when you think about it, who has Kell Brook really beat? And let's look at the names who he's knocked back. He has knocked back a lot of fights over the years. When he was with Frank Warren, that's why they split up. And he knocked him back with Eddie. Eddie was fucking pulling his hair out with that Devin Alexander job. He didn't want it. Threw Lee Purdy under the bus, didn't they, for that, just to cover his ass. So now I'm not having him going down as a fucking world champion, even in my eyes. Errol Bomber Graham must be fucking disgusted sat watching that last night. He's the best guy to come out of that gym. Johnny Nelson got a world title, give him, with that Carl Thompson fight. Worst stoppage at 90s that got voted in Ring Magazine.
Yeah, that's true,
actually. And Kell Brook, fucking hell, he hooked for it. It's a definite, but he lost. So he's done now. He's not achieved anything. His best win's Michael Jennings.
Ross, let me bring in Rob Kelly at this juncture. Rob, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, all right, Ross, good man yourself. No, I just wanted to say as well in the build-up when they were saying we all know that he didn't want this Spence fight, but in the build-up, right, we had to listen to him say in the press conference, "I'm not giving up my belt. If you want that belt, you have to rip it from me." Well, he took a shot. He took a look at his eye and said, "You can have the belt," didn't he? So.
Yeah, gave him it, didn't he? And then they beat him down. And you know them judges last night? Oh my God! You know, if Kell Brook had stayed on his feet for the rest of the fight, he would have won by a fucking split decision. One of them had him 5 rounds
what?
up.
Hang on.
3 rounds. Oh, well, that
Hang on. There's some controversy over this because I've heard 2 different conflicting things. Andy, was it Brook or Spence who was up?
The three judges had Spence in front.
Spence every single judge had Spence in front.
It was Spence. Yeah.
Oh, there was Spence who were up by 5.
Yeah, it's fake news.
5-3-1.
Oh, is it fake news? Yeah. All right. Well, that's all right then, because like at the end of the day, mate, I had fucking Spence beat him up, mate. He just went to town on him, mate.
Yeah.
He bashed him. He never marked him, did that? He's technically very, very good in Steve, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's best southpaw I've seen since the peak Butte. You know what I mean? Since Froch destroyed him.
You had to get that in, didn't you?
Because Tommy's on here, isn't it?
Ross, anything else you want to add in, Ross? Anything else you want to add in?
No, I think that the welterweight division's going to up now, and I think I'd like to see Eggington fight Kell now in a comeback fight.
Eggington against Kelly saying, Ross, we'll catch you next week. We'll get you on next week, Ross, okay?
All right then, mate. Cheers. Bye-bye, all that chaps.
Yeah, another story I think we're missing.
Who do you think hoovered the most fucking proving pure last night, Ross or Callie Sauerland?
That's the question I was trying to get in, but he wasn't biting.
Did you see Callie's fucking? Holy fuck, man! Did you see his fucking lips?
He was in the pocket last night, man. Fuck.
What? He was rolling.
He was letting his lips in, fucking drinking water and all that, man. Listen, I could tell his son was ripping, and he was fucking pinging out his tits, man. You've got to give him credit, man. He finds it everywhere he goes, doesn't he? Doesn't he? When he pops up in the world, he's that's it. Connections with the world, man.
Right, boys, I had the list of the fights next week up in front of me, so we're going to move swiftly on to some of these. Hank Lundy's fighting against Daniel Evangelista Jr. We're not concerned ourselves too much about that. Donny, are you going to this show over in Connecticut in the Floyd Little Athletic Center? Marilyn Rosa is promoting for God the Father Promotions.
No, I actually. No. I mean, I do like to go to like smaller shows and stuff like that. I mean, I do go when I can go, but I actually just have plans next weekend, so I won't be able to.
Donny's not going to that one. Right, what about this then, Donny? Adonis Stevenson against Andre Fonfara up in Montreal. Aleida Alvarez is fighting against Jean Pascal. Couple of decent fights. Stevenson's already beaten Fonfara. I don't know. I've had enough of Stevenson, Donny. What do you think?
Well, I mean, the thing is that Stevenson is getting older, and at some point he will, lose enough to lose. And I would just really like to see Kovalev be the one to get that job, because I mean, he should have really had that fight before. It'd be interesting to see, Fonfara do it. I mean, he did, of course, knock Stevenson down, I believe, in the first fight. It could be an interesting fight. I mean, I still think Stevenson's going to win it. It'll be too much for him, but it's definitely worth a watch. It's a decent fight.
It's a decent fight, says Donny. What do you think about this one, Andy? Just looking at Fonfara's record, since the Stevenson loss, he's beaten Ngumbu, he's beaten Chavez Jr., he's beaten Cleverly. He then got knocked out by Joe Smith, and then he beat the shell of Chad Dawson. Are you happy seeing this rematch, or would you like to see Stevenson fighting somebody else? Andy?
I think Andy said he'd be back, mate.
Oh, sorry, Rob. Do you want to jump in here?
I'm over Stevenson too. I don't think he's ever going to take a fight against one of the top guys in the 175 division. I think 99% of the time the better fighter wins the rematch. So I fancy him to be Fonfara, probably blow him away actually. And I know Fonfara got to him in the fight, but I think it was kind of more of a flash knockdown. He was off balance, if I remember correctly. I think he just had too much for him. John Pascal, I don't want to see again. This guy's just floating around, taking L after L, and I'm disgusted with him because he called James Toney a fat pig. So, I hope he gets beaten next week.
Yeah, no, we don't want to be hearing those type of things, Andy. We're talking Stevenson, Fonfara here, and a bit of Alvarez against John Pascal on the undercard. Are you digging this?
Jean Pascal's fighting next week, is he?
He's fighting Alvarez on the Stevenson Fonfara undercard. What do you think?
Sorry,
what do you think about the Stevenson Fonfara rematch? That's what I was asking you about. Really, we're wondering if Stevenson's going to be fighting anybody half decent, but he seems to be getting away with this Fonfara rematch.
Well, that's a part of his career, though, mate. This is what he's been up to. Who's fucking about in the background there?
I'm not
Donny.
sure. Might be Donny.
That's who it is. Aye. So Fonfara, I mean, Stevenson's fucking career's now a mirage. I mean, ever since he went across the street, it's been nothing but fucking failure, isn't it? I mean, okay, he's been winning fights and stuff, but it's been shit. It's been against PBC fucking shills, and it came up. Okay, you can say that Kovalev's team pulled out the purse bids as well, but at the same time as HBO were willing to give him fucking money. They were willing to kind of make the fight, but they were also willing to give him, was it 2 fights or whatever? I've got no incentive to watch this fight, none whatsoever. I think it's typical PBC again, putting on kind of shitty cards. I mean, Alvarez is passed up in a good fight against. Who was he meant to be fighting? Was it not meant to be Beterbiev or something like that?
No, was it him? Was it not Beterbiev Barrera they were talking about, wasn't it?
Nah, something along the lines. But as you say, Pascal. I mean, Pascal's just he's in it for the fucking paycheck now. I mean, after Kovalev took his ass twice, he should really have in his last 4 fights. He should have he should be 1-3 because he didn't beat Gonzalez. So it really he should be rematching Gonzalez, even though Gonzalez got stopped in his last fight or whatever. But I've no really good reason to watch this card next week.
There's really a lot of good fights out there now for Stevenson, but he's not taking them. This Viterbi fight's been there for a long time. They've got Badu Jack there now. There's Nathan Cleverly. That fight could be made. There's fights here. There's no reason now for Stevenson to go and fight in Cannes, but I think he's proved that's what he's wanted to do. When your lawyer, when he was on HBO, even his own team were telling him to sign the Kovalev contract, and he absolutely bailed on it. He bottled it. He shat himself. He ran to Showtime. As Andy says, he's done nothing since, but there's really no excuse for him now. There's fights here. There's Viterbi would knock him out. There's a fight there with Badu Jack. There's a fight there with Nathan Cleverly, who's got a minor strap now. So we really need to hear him in these fights. He's became irrelevant.
Make the mistake.
He became irrelevant.
Aye, that's the thing.
Sorry?
Make the mistake about it. He's there to be taken. Like,
you see, Viterbi might be the best fighter in that division. I've said it for a long time. He'll annihilate Stevenson if he fights. I don't see Stevenson going anywhere near him.
The only rematch worth watching next week is the Russian Hammer against God's Power.
Who's that?
Kudryashov against
That's next week. Aye, definitely, man.
Saturday.
Next Saturday night in Russia, Dmitry Kudryashov against Durodola. While you're on the subject, whoever wants to speak about it, feel free.
Well, if it's anything like the first fight, Tom, I'll need you mute now, mate. We're getting a bit of feedback off you.
Yeah.
I've just muted the now, mate. Right, there you go. If it's anything like the first fight, we're going to get brutality. We're going to see knockdowns. We're going to see fucking savage, fucking left hooks getting thrown in here. No, as I said, I think it might be the first fight where Durodola was alleged to have failed a drugs test, and that was him proven. Aye, it was him proven though. I think it was proven that he had no case to answer. I think it got thrown out in the end. He beat him in the second round by a stoppage, I think. And then he went on and fought Bredis. I'm just trying to kind of find the details, and I can't get it to hand.
The Kudryashov fight went early. It was like you said, a second round knockout, wasn't it?
Second round knockout, mate. He got knocked down. Durodola, I'm sure he got knocked down in the first round. He was either knocked down or he was badly hurt.
Yeah,
he was really badly hurt, and he just turned the table on Kudryashov, who just basically blew his load. Could get this. I mean, Kudryashov, he isn't a great boxer. He's just got this fucking scary power that can just cabbage you anytime, But Durodola, again, he's hard as fuck. He took a lot of punishment off Kudryashov before he turned the tables, and he got his arse kicked off Bredis. Let's be honest about it. I think genuinely this is 50-50. Again, I'm going to go and say Kudryashov this time is going to pull it out the bag, but I didn't say that with any great confidence.
Wasn't he taking an insane amount of shots in the first fight, and he was just standing there?
It was brutality, mate. He just got his arse kicked.
Tommy, go ahead.
Just turned the tables.
I'm with Andy. I pretty much agree. I think the Russian will win it. I think the Russian will take it this time as well. He should have won the first fight. I don't see it going by. It probably won't go by 2 rounds again either. But I'm really looking forward to that fight, man. First fight with Bell.
Yep. Donnie, then Rob, any interest in this one, guys?
What's that? I'm sorry, you cut out for a sec.
Oh, Kudryashov against Durodola.
Yeah, I mean it should be a hell of a fight. You got two good punches there. I don't know if I'm gonna have to probably search out a stream for that one, but yeah, I'm game.
Donnie's game. Rob, I'm going to hit you with a nasty one here. Sorry in advance. 2nd of June, Friday, Bradley Skeet against Shane Singleton for the British title. I'd like to see Skeet moved on after the Eggington performance. This is like a little ticking over job. Yeah,
I'm not really interested in that one, dude. I don't think. Zero interest. Not to like just dismiss the question or whatever. Like, I mean, that division. Would they kind of stand a chance if they get moved up? That's the thing. Like, who would you maneuver them towards? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I just seen something here. Frankie Gavin's fighting next fucking Saturday in Paisley.
Oh dear.
I wonder if you're coming under super middleweight for this.
Sorry, Rob, mate. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say to Rob.
I wonder what Frankie would comeback fight now for the chocolate brownie at 150.
Wait, did Gavin just fight like a couple weeks ago? He's going old school.
Yep.
Oh, he needs to fucking fight me regularly to keep the weight off him, the fat cunt.
Yeah, actually, maybe that's not a bad strategy for him. Like, just that he's always in the gym. Yeah.
Rob, do you want to say anything about Kudryashov? If you don't have to, I can give you a question instead if you want.
I'll throw us a question because I think the guys covered pretty much, didn't
No problem. This is from Grant Riley. He says, a quick question, Rob, on Ward versus Kovalev. It seems to be going under the radar with a lot of people talking about Mayweather, McGregor and Canelo Triple G. Grant says, this fight really has me gripped. I think Kovalev will come out and do the business this time. He wouldn't leave it to chance like the last time. That's not to take it away from Ward, who is more than capable of boxing off the back foot and sneaking the rounds. But fights like this are why I love boxing, says Grant. Do you agree, Rob?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I thought the first fight was a great fight. I maybe had it to Ward by 1 round. I think this fight, he might even win wider. I think if Kovalev does go for the gusto, I might even play into Ward's hands a little bit. Ward, it has to be, I was only thinking about this today, he has to be one of the most skilled guys in the sport, if not the most skilled. We'll take away Lomachenko, Rigondeaux, Ward, and they're probably the top 3 most skilled guys. As much as a mope as he is, and he doesn't do himself any favors with this, he wouldn't do the head-to-head and everything. I think that's played a bit of a part in the way it's gone under the radar too. We wanted to see the head-to-head. I wanted to see Kovalev get proper nasty with him in the head-to-head. See Kellerman try and moderate that. Kellerman's second only as the greatest moderator, apart from you, Steve, by the way, because every time I'm coming in on the call, I'm always coming in on the back end of something. We're going to move on to Rob to stop this madness. No, but yeah, I think. What do you guys think? Do you think Kovalev can get him with the knockout this time? I don't know. I think Ward will probably outpoint him a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I hope Kovalev does it, but I agree with you, Rob. I think Ward just finds a way on the judges' cards.
Yeah. It was believed that Kovalev overtrained for the first fight. He was way up in the Russian mountains or whatever it was, and they believed when he came down off the mountain, he was actually too gaunt. He lost too much weight too soon, and then he left the fight in the gym. Which, see, to be honest, I don't know if I buy into it as such, because Kovalev does put on a wee bit of timber between fights. I'm not saying he's tight to the weight or anything like that, but I just think when you fight Ward, it's like a game of inches with him. It's a chess move every time. You got to think 3-4 steps ahead, because if you don't, he'll start figuring you out as the fight goes on. But I just think Ward got lucky in that first fight, because if you look at the right hand, they got knocked down off. See if Kovalev got full extension on that shot. He didn't really get the full snap on it. But see if he did, Ward wouldn't have got up off that shot. He really wouldn't have, because, as I say, if he'd really got the full leverage on it, that would have been him. But nah, he couldn't have delivered. This time, I think he'd be more measured. And we've seen it with Pascal, in that when he wants to fucking do something, he's one of these guys who just puts his mind to it, and he's just typical Russian. He's just typical fucking nasty, evil bastard. That's why I love him.
He did that in the early career too, didn't he? And after the drawn fight, went back out and absolutely dismantled the guy. But we know. I just think, has he shown Ward a look now? And once Ward's had a look at him, that's all he needs. You know what I mean? Is he going to bring him something different this time? I think because Ward did definitely look more comfortable in the second half of the fight. Now a lot of people say, well, you scored rounds to Ward because he was doing better, not necessarily winning the round. I kind of don't agree. I think Kovalev, the jabs to the body definitely took a lot out of Kovalev. I think he was breathing heavy a little bit in the second half of the fight, and he's shown parts of that in his career. But like you said, it's all small margins, and it is a 50-50 fight, even in a rematch. So it's not definitive either way, but I just think Ward's going to edge him.
Yeah, I think Kovalev stopped throwing his jab in the rematch, or Wood took it away from him. Either way, that was what was working for him early on. Right, who've we got? Tommy, let's hit you with this question from Big Devil 2017. It's about your favourite promoter, Mr. Eduardo Hearn. Apart from AJ and Bellew, what pay-per-view fights has Hearn got for the rest of this year? And will he dare put Triple G versus Canelo and Floyd versus McGregor on pay-per-view with a Matchroom show on the same night? If Tommy, Mr. Hearn, is looking to get the pay-per-view numbers going, which he apparently has to, because Sky have told him he has a requisite number, you can see him trying to tag one of his shows onto the back of a Triple G Canelo or a Mayweather McGregor card, couldn't you?
Well, he said as much on his IFL interview during the week. I took you for that. That was his plan to do that with the McGregor or the Canelo fight. I think he's going to do 4 more pay-per-views this year. Obviously, Joshua will be one, and Bellew probably hit Bellew he too. I think he would have probably forced Kell Brook in again this year. That's out the window now. So it'll be something like that. He's only got Joshua and Bellew left now, hasn't he? Bellew. I've heard that Joshua's got one fight left in his deal. I'm not sure if it's true or no, but that's what I've heard. And obviously Bellew's, he's not going to fight one much longer. David Taylor will come out in the rematch, so it's not looking good for Mr. Hearn now. And they want to put the pay-per-views up, aren't they?
Yeah, he was on the Tommy, he was on the tightrope, really, given the fact that Kell Brook lost last night. And I know, ifs, buts and maybes, if my auntie was my uncle, you should have a cock and all that type of stuff. But AJ was a really good, well-placed right hand from Klitschko away from imploding Eddie's business in one, fell swoop in a couple of weeks.
Exactly. No, just imagine if Klitschko had iced into Joshua, which he very nearly done, and Bellew had took everybody's advice and retired. Because his family were telling him to retire. Even Caldwell was telling him to retire. They've been named that. They've been named left. They've been game over for him. They've been back to fucking York Hall, but putting prize fighters on. But he's hanging in there. But as I say, another few months it might be all over. The Stub Pub era might be fucking gone, and I can't wait. As I said, I hope everybody that draws a penny for him, I hope getting knocked the fuck out.
Where is Stub Pub registered again? What country is that in?
Fuck knows.
Did someone say Switzerland? Have they got lax tax laws, no?
No, I thought aren't they from San Francisco?
I bet that.
Switzerland.
I think the company's based out there in one of the countries, the crazy tax companies, aren't they?
You can have a holding company overseas anyway.
Something like that. But they didn't pay tax or fuck all, do they?
No.
Just follow the money.
It is fraud.
Oh, yeah.
Right, Craig Mastro's thrown a question in. He said, is there anyone other than Joshua who has had every pro fight televised? I think in the UK, I remember Ricky Hatton. I'm sure every one of his fights was televised. I know Mayweather, you can get every one of his fights televised. A fair few, Johnny.
Sugar Ray Leonard also. His debut was on ABC, and actually he got, like, I think that was like one of the things that always drove Marvin Hagler crazy, was that Leonard, I think, made like $50,000 for his fucking and then this is like in 1977 or whatever. He made $50,000 for his debut. Marvin Hagler got $50, so he always, I think he always made a note of that, just that, like, and he never had the money on the way up. Hagler didn't, but who else, Scott? I think that Andre Ward actually probably had a lot of his. I don't know about all of them, but he had a lot of his fights televised. They did the best they could with him. I mean, he's not the most exciting fighter in the world, but usually I think it's your gold medalists usually that kind of get that special treatment.
Your man as well, Donny, Amir Khan, right from when he came off the back of the 2004 Olympics, they showed the Mario Kindelan fight on ITV, and then he turned pro against David Bailey, and I'm sure he's been televised ever since.
Yep, that sounds about right. Yeah. Anyone else?
What about Roy Jones? Roy Jones?
Actually, no. Roy Jones was kind of really dumb in the way that he started, like, out in his career. He did a lot of untelevised shows in Florida until he started getting with the right people. But, like, his dad had kind of controlled everything and distrusted all the major promoters and stuff. And even then, Roy basically promoted himself, like, for most of his career. He never signed with a major promoter, so he actually had a televised fights early on.
Right, guys, let's move on. Rob, I'm not sure how interested you are in this, but it's from Andrew Daniel Hipkins. He said, should boxers express their football support alliance? Does it build up the boxers' support and profile, or does it alienate fans from their rival football teams?
I mean, like, who cares, really? You know what I mean? Not that I have no interest in the question, but who cares? I mean, like, I support Celtic. If a fighter's dross and he's a Celtic fan, it's not going to make a difference to me whether I support him in his career. You know what I mean? I try, to be honest with you, we've been watching boxing for so long, I try not to pay really any attention to boxers' personalities, and I know it's hard at times. Like, I was even looking at Frotch on telly last night, cracking up. Like, but it's I try not to really pay too much attention and just focus on what they do in the ring. I think a lot of them do it for, like, a cheap alliance to try and build a fan base. Like, I've seen some overseas fighters in Canada and whatnot proclaiming their love for Celtic, and this kind of nonsense, like just trying to gain affiliations here and there. I mean, if they support their club like Ricky Hatton, it doesn't make a difference. I think the whole of Manchester was rooting for Ricky. It doesn't really matter, does it? Like,
you mentioned Ras Selleck too many times there, mate.
The Invincibles, baby.
You're no Invincibles. You go fucking beat half a team for fucking Gibraltar, for fuck's sake.
Hey, all of them are getting your first team, by the way.
What's that?
All of them are getting your first team.
Oh, that's no fucking hard.
Right. I've cut off the name of this next contributor, so apologies. I think it's someone O'Connor. He's asked us 3 questions in one. Let's see if we can gather our brains together, our thinking brains, and come up with these. Andy, first of all, let's jump in with you. The top 5 active pound-for-pound punchers. I think Mr. Kovalev has to be one, who we've already mentioned, doesn't he?
Oh, aye.
Triple
Top
G?
5 active. Triple
Yeah.
G's up there, definitely. I don't know if we could put Beterbiev in the same bracket, or Joshua. Wilder possibly as well, aye. Pound for pound. Well, if he's still at middleweight, I would have put Abraham in there, but he's no longer there, so Golovkin, as you say, mate, probably. What about, I forget what one it is, but we'll say Charlo. One of the Charlo brothers seems to kind of dig pretty hard.
Yeah.
I think
Klitschko can fairly knock people out.
Javante Davis.
Yep.
The last 2 fights he's been laying guys to waste. Rigo when he wants to let his hands go, I suppose he can be really kind of heavy-handed. But there's top 5. Well,
we've named a fair few there, Andy. Let's move on to the next one. What about pound for pound chins? The top 5 best chins in the business
right now. Best chins.
Yeah.
I've got to say Dominic Brazwell's chin's really, really good. Even though Josh would knock him out, that is quite teak. Who was? Well, Frotchy's retired now, I suppose. Who was that, mate?
Salido,
yeah.
Salido. I definitely Salido. Yeah.
Takashi Miura.
Lebedev,
yeah.
That guy's fucking nails. Who was that one you mentioned, mate?
Takashi Miura.
Miura. Oh, well, if you're going to put Miura, you need to put in Vargas and what do you call him? Berchelt.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Charles
Martin. No. No. I was trying to remember who he was there, you know.
Tom Dallas.
I was trying to remember who he was.
What about your man last night who was taking the beatings off Groves? What do you call the Russian guy? Yeah.
Scary, man. Absolutely scary. Him and his brothers got fucking insane chins. One chin I would probably say is quite good would be Gonzalez. He stood up the hell of a lot of shots to Sarah Skitlight, and he took it. He took it heavy. That's all I can think at the minute.
That's fine. That's fine.
Donny, didn't you think that Kovalev's hiding glass? I've always said that he's hiding glass to that body, like.
Yeah, a few people have said that, haven't they? I'll have to wait and see. Donny, talking to Javante Davis, he might be prime for this next one. The top 5 active pound for pound speed, Donny. Who's the quickest mofos around?
Well, I think Gary Russell and Khan are still up there. I think even Pacquiao still might have a say in that conversation as well. It's amazing to me that he's held on to that speed for as long as he has.
Meth.
And so Pacquiao, Khan, Gary Russell, Davis definitely is in the conversation. I'm trying to think here. This is really fast-handed. I don't know. Help me out here.
Lomachenko's pretty fast hands. Mikey Garcia's got pretty fast hands. He's more accurate, maybe, but
you should see my hand speed when I'm having a wank in my mum's basement. By the way, it's fucking off the charts.
Steve, get in there.
Yeah, Sean Miller, better watch out. Right, that'll do. Let's move on. If anyone has any boxes that they want to add in the chat, and we'll read them out. We've still got Bellew of the Week to come, guys, and a few other questions. Who's on the panel still? We've got Rob Kelly, we've got Tommy, we've got Andy Patterson, and we've got Donny. Tommy, question from Mark Wood. He asked it last week, couldn't quite fit it in because it was a monster show last week. Do you, Tommy, think that the competition between Sky and Box Nation with regular weekly shows can elevate boxing to be the number 2 watch sport in the UK? What do you think, Tom? Tommy. Seem to have lost Tommy. Andy's BRB in. Rob,
I'll hang back on you, mate. I'll hang back on you.
Yeah. Any comments on? I was just asking. Oh, I'll ask it to you. Do you think the competition between Sky and Box Nation with the regular weekly shows could elevate boxing to the number 2 watch sport in the UK?
No. Simple fact is, I hate the fact when they go head to head because it's a complete cunt trying to watch every fight to do the podcast for a Sunday afternoon and stuff. So it's no use. Boxing, as I understand it, is the most watched sport illegally online with streams and stuff. But
right,
I would say I don't know what the viewing figures are, honestly. But obviously, it's the football first, and then I suppose for it's between. I wouldn't be surprised if it's between the cricket, the golf, the F1, then boxing. I suppose for the rankings or the viewing figures, I'm not too sure. But will it make it number 2 most watched sport? I doubt it because it's just nobody knows who the fighters are nowadays. I mean, if you take Joshua out of the equation at the minute, you ask anybody in the street, about a certain fighter who's got a world title, so to speak, they wouldn't fucking have a clue who you're talking about.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that one, Andy, to be honest. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen. Rob, before we go on to Bellew of the Week, what do you think about this one? Miguel Cotto is fighting Kamagai on August the 26th at the StubHub Arena for the vacant WBO 154-pound title. Live on HBO. Rob, are you going to be staying up for this?
Yeah, no, I think I might catch that one on the HBO highlights. Maybe just I've always liked Cotto as a fighter, he's one of these ones where his personality will irk you, you know what I mean? He's 24/7s and all that with the Pink Panther Brigade, and he's lying in the bed with the big fat guy and all that. Like, I can't, you know what I mean? I just send it. I don't know. Like, I just think, he's probably on, I think Andy mentioned it before, he's probably getting 10 million guarantee anyway, you know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter, does it? You get him pick up another world title. I would be interested to see him versus Brook. If Brook did go to 154, I think it'd be a big money. It'd probably be one of the money fights available out there. I think one of that Charlo brother that we don't know which is which, that Kabanga could actually beat Brook at 154. So, and it is a kind of a dull division. So maybe Cotto brings a bit of money to it. You know what I mean?
Whenever you mentioned the Pink Panther Brigade there, Rob, I thought you were going to talk about Dublin's finest, Jim Rock.
Oh, Big Jim, yeah. His brother was a rapper, by the way.
That's right. He rapped. Yeah. He rapped before the Martin Rogan Sam Sexton fight.
Yeah. Big, good, handy, nice with his hands as well. I heard. I gave Jim Rock a bit of stick actually because he used to be giving Andy Lee death on RT commentary, and he's always picking against him. But I think he might have been remembering a spar that they had that I heard about. So I just called him on it one time, but he said he was being unbiased, so we left it at that. I didn't want to get no problems anyway with Jim Rock. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you don't. I heard a story once, I don't know if it's true, but apparently Jim Rock used to drive around in a hearse, an old disused hearse, and he was able to just park it on the double yellow lines in Belfast so no one would come along and book him.
Maybe because he had a car dealership, I think, so that could be true.
There we go. Right, Tommy, final question to you. Mark Wood, it's a 2-parter. You got the second part. Which are the best venues, Tommy, or arenas, not stadiums, for boxing in the UK? The best venues for boxing, not the stadiums?
Oh, trying to think here. I really like the Manchester Arena, the MEA, and I think I've been doing it Hatton fights. I was at the Stewart fight down there with Ricky Hatton, and the sound in there was really good. I'm not a big fan of the O2. I think it's too high up. It's not an arena for me. Where else have I been? Actually, quite like the Hydro through in Glasgow. It's not a huge arena, but the sound in there, the atmosphere is electric. Have I been to? I can't think off the top of my head, mate. I definitely go with the MEN Arena. That was good. Wembley Arena is quite good. I've been to Wembley Arena. That's all right in there. You get quite loud in there as well.
What about the old school ones, Tommy? The York Hall. I've never been there myself, and the Ulster Hall, and even I'm going to give a shout out to the Copper Box as well. I quite like that when I was there.
Aye. York Hall's famous, isn't it? Apparently, when it's packed to the rafters in there, you get the balcony shaking and that, don't you? Yeah. It's a right old school venue. My personal favourite I'd say in the UK is going to be the I'd say the MEN Arena, the Manchester Arena.
Yeah, not in the UK, and I know Dave Lee, the Limerick lover, isn't a fan of it, but I like the National Stadium in Dublin. I think that's quite a good venue.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on to the Bellew of the Week then, shall we? And then we shall get the hell out of here.
It's going to happen, mate. We're going to do it. And when we do it, it's going to be vicious, mate. I ain't a man dregs with the weights. I ain't a man taking the last ounces of my soul on the scales. I've done that before. I ain't doing it no more. You can say what you want. Oh, Bellew's not in shape. Bellew looks fleshy at the weight. Bellew's just iced a man who's never been done before. Bellew just feels in absolutely fantastic shape. Bellew doesn't lose 2.5 stone no more each time in the camp. Bellew goes to the gym now 15 stone and just cuts 10 pounds nice and easy. I fought Nathan Cleverly in my 16th fight, 15 fight novice. I'd fought, the best person I fought was Paul from Mackenzie at British title level. I am now, it's that 25, it's that 26 fights. I've fought some of the best, I've fought the best fighter in the world in my weight class, one of the biggest pound for pound punchers in the world. I've beat guys like Isaac Chilemba, world ranked guys. Let's see who beats Isaac Chilemba. I've beat renowned punchers, Ederson Miranda. I'm not saying he's the best Ederson Miranda. I'm just saying I've beat these guys. Who's he beat? Okay, I'm not saying, well, Tony, he did beat you. He beat a guy who basically got a fight because he opened his mouth at a press conference and he sells a shitload of ticket to the arena. That's why I got that fight. Everybody thought he was going to smash me. Everyone involved with that fight thought he was going to smash me. But when he went to within an inch of lose, and it's a decision that could have been either way, he doesn't want to come near me after it. That's why he couldn't answer the question then when I said it in front of him. Just answer me this. Why wouldn't you take the rematch immediately? Do you know what he said? I think he was saying what that was, train station was. That long word. I couldn't understand what he was saying. I just answered the simple question. Why wouldn't you fight me a minute after the rematch happened? He wouldn't fight me because he believed he was going to knock me out and he just believed he was going to beat me up. And that's all I've got to say about that. Right, let's do it right now. You fucking rat.
Always good to hear from Tony on a Sunday evening. Let's get through these Bellews. There's a few, as you can imagine, when there's a big fight in town. First one goes to BJ Flores. BJ said there's 2 weeks' notice, but it isn't a problem. I would love to step in against Freza Quendo in place of Shannon Briggs.
Oh, you opportunistic bastard.
No. Badu Jack, this is for Toby Robinson. Badu Jack was on Twitter and he said, I think he was talking to James DeGale. Well, he was talking to James DeGale. Shut up, you faggot. You could have got the rematch at 175. I've still got your teeth in my pocket. I'm going to sell them on eBay for $2. And Toby Robinson said, why would he rematch you at 175 when you were still both 168 champions? I think you moved up to avoid Callum Smith. Oh dear. James Bairstow sent this one in. Jimmy Kilrain Kelly, former world title challenger no less, before you all laugh, is fighting next week, I think it is, for the vacant IBF East-West Europe super welterweight title. Brilliant title there, Andy, of great repute.
Oh.
I think if you've ever been in the East or West of Europe, you can fight for it, or the North or South. In fact, if you've been anywhere at any point, I think you can probably fight for it.
I think I'm ranked number 15.
Oh, well, you need to get in there, Rob.
I'm saying I'm looking for an mandatory.
Billy Joe Saunders got nominated from official Bobby J. Billy Joe got in on the political side of things. Our governments are letting the terrorists in through them. Let them throw the door, says Billy Joe. He's not the sharpest tool in the box, is he? I think we'll leave that one. Shep sent this one in for the WBC. Did you see it, Andy? I think it was some WBC edition of, what was it, tequila or whiskey or something.
I've not seen this one. I've seen it. There's been a lot of shenanigans going on this week.
Yeah, it's Tequila Armero. It dedicates this special edition bottle to the memory of Don Jose Suleiman and to all those great heroes who've made the boxing greatest sport in the world.
I did see it, mate, because I think I replied to it. I think it's something along the lines of, they're still mourning this guy's been dead, 12 months, just let it go, you've had your morning. Let
it go, he's gone. Mauricio's doing a good job now. Sky Sports Boxing, remembering the finest fighters to emerge from Brenda Ingall's gym. They had Ryan Rhodes, Prince Naseem, Kell Brook and Errol Graham. And Justin Hedlow laughed when Kid Galahad got his face on the list.
I'm surprised they have a few Caldwell in there too, man. Fuck's sake.
Caldwell. Yeah. Wasn't Caldwell a journeyman? Didn't he end up with was it 3 and 5 record?
I've actually saw him fighting, though I can't remember it.
He fought on the Tyson
undercard in Glasgow.
Yeah, he fought on the Tyson Savarese undercard and Judah Witter undercard in 2000.
That's right. I was at that fight. I can't remember, but I seen the whole undercard. But I can't remember the fight back then.
We'll try and dig out the tape if we can and put it on YouTube for you, Tommy. FightType.com got nominated from Rocco. Dominic Ingle insists if Kell Brook sparred Floyd Mayweather, he'd do better than Errol Spence. Doesn't look good in hindsight, does it, that one? Oof. Let's have a look. Richard Swig has nominated Tony Bellew for his rant about Islamic State. I didn't even see that. I didn't watch that.
I saw it.
It's good. I think I'm looking forward to him and Billy Joe Saunders setting up a task force and going over there to Syria to sort it all out. They get Coogan over there to interview ISIS in the build-up and everything.
Can just be serious though. See, to be honest, he's probably just speaking how fucking a lot of people are thinking at the minute. Some people put it across like that, some people put it across a lot differently. It's just people are quite rightly raging at the minute, So
I like that image of Coogan interviewing the jihadists. Simon Wells has put this one in for what the hell's Huang Nguyen 2021 on Twitter. He said, Eddie Hearn, I don't know why you get so much stick. I like your mindset and love your business brain. You're winning in life. And then a little flexing muscle icon. All right then. Frankie Gavin. Eddie Hearn as well has truly delivered on tomorrow's card, i.e. the Kell Brook Errol Spence card. It's the card of the year so far. And Nestor Carter jumped in and said, Frankie, if you were on the card, mate, it would be a legendary card. I'm a huge fan of yours. Looking forward to your next fight.
That's a troll. Got to be.
It must be. Nobody's looking forward to Frankie Gavin fights. Nobody.
Chris Pass.
Same with Paisley, man. Paisley's not got a lot going for it, right? But they're not even looking forward to fucking Frankie Gavin.
No.
I know. And I'll tell you something, you get places on earth like Basra, you get Detroit, and I'll tell you something, by the way, there's no one of them got a patch on fucking Paisley. Oof, what a shithole.
Jack Central. Junkies Asian your arse a dartboard, holy fuck, man.
See if you walk through Paisley and you get out there without getting stabbed, you've done really well.
I've never been to Paisley. I stayed in the Motherwell Point though one time. I was in the Motherwell Point nightclub. That nearly ended in a disaster for me. But anyway.
You recommending Motherwell to us there, Tommy?
No, no, really, mate.
Brian's from there, isn't it?
Michelle Phelps and just nuke that whole place right in the surrounding areas. Sorry, Brian, but I would.
With Brian in it at the time or not?
I'd give him the 30. What is it? This is the 2-minute warning. He's not going to be able to run very fast away, as you see these wee legs.
He'd be too busy knocking one off down in the basement. As Eddie would say.
Aye.
Right. To Ashley Cates has nominated some hardcores on Facebook. Mitchell Warsap was tagging his mates in about the show this weekend, and he said, "Here, lads. By the way, Eddie Hearn is that white guy always wearing a suit in the photos in case you forgot who he was." Obvious hardcores, as Ashley says. Chris Blackman has nominated Johnny Nelson. I've heard a lot about this Jamie Foxx, says Johnny Nelson. Apparently he was talking about Jamie Cox.
Yeah, fucker.
So he confused him with like the actor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Gonzo was calling Spencer for the whole fight last night as well, by the way.
Aye, that was shocking, eh?
Yeah.
Just need to bin him.
Yep, get rid of him. Right, Tyler Mullins has been nominated by Shady MC. Tyler says, if David Allen gets past this, love to see him fight Let's Go champ. Make it happen, Eddie. Oh. Arvin Panesa has nominated Anthony Fowler. Apparently in his post-fight interview, he said, I'm elite level.
You said that last night, actually. He did,
yeah.
He did say that.
Yeah. Chris Stone, just before the fight, he tweeted Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing. Only 24 hours to go, guys. Eddie and Matchroom giving me the best nights of my life so far this year. Come on. Some people are easily pleased. Zico is nominated.
That guy hasn't been late in a while.
No. We need to help him out, Donna. We need to help him out. Zico has nominated Eddie talking about Lawrence Okoli's hopeless opponent. We found someone we knew was dangerous, said Eddie. I think Adam Smith should be nominated as well because he said, we don't know much about this guy, but we know he can punch. And he was one of these 2-0 Czechs. He had 2 knockouts on his record. Flip me.
Oh, he was horrible, wasn't he? Fuck,
He was terrible. The fact that he got hit twice on the floor didn't help either.
Peter Fury was impressed with him last night.
Was he?
Aye, the opponent's holy. Yeah, he was. Jeez, they were awful, man. You just know these guys have came for that kind of laughing kind of club of fighting, eh?
Aye.
Just happy to be there.
Just they stand in the gym, they go in for a few rounds, it gets put on their ledger, and then they get shipped out to the UK every other couple of weeks.
That's what they do, isn't it? With them, Andy, see like the polls and that, they'll get them to 9 and 10 and 0, and then they'll say, "Oh, look at this guy here. He's got to 10 and 0. He must be pretty decent." And then the local promoter can say, "Oh, I got this 10 and 0 guy in for me," and they're paying 3 or 4 grand. And then as soon as he's lost that first fight, then he just becomes a journeyman. And then you notice they become 10 and 70 whenever they retire.
And how much of that record's getting paid for as well, eh?
Well, that's the thing. We don't know. It's all gym fights, isn't it? Anyway. Enough of the dirty politics of boxing. Martin Hurry has nominated Carl Froch for his scorecard during the Allen and Thomas fight. Zico has nominated both Amir Khan and Tony Bellew, and he sent me a photo. I'll put it up on the Facebook page of both of their shoes. Pretty awful numbers there. Dippo Osho has nominated Dave. I know, pretty much. Dippo Osho has nominated Dave Allen for making his dad buy an extortionate ticket to his own fight with no discount. What a cunt, says Dippo. Ozzie Smith, contributor to the pod, we'll hopefully get him on next week, has nominated the Daily Express. Their headline was, Dave Allen grinds out a victory over Lenroy Thomas to claim the Commonwealth heavyweight title. And I know exactly what has happened here, Andy. Being a man who works on the deadline myself, they've had that written by about round 6, expecting what's going to happen. And then he hasn't changed the headline, and he stuck it out, basically saying that Allen's won. That's what happened there.
Well, I kind of, as I say, mate, I gave up after about, was it 5 rounds or something like that? It was. I checked Twitter.
Oh, wait,
everybody was saying the same thing. They were all kind of like, "Oh, that was hard going to watch."
What's wrong, Donny?
Oh,
Donny,
sorry.
are you okay?
Is it time for the Hello,
Donny.
Thanks for that, Donny.
Okay, Donny, we'll come to you soon. Thank you.
Fuck, you seriously cannot hear me?
Thanks for coming on, Donny.
We can hear you now, Donny. What is it you want to say?
Oh, no, I didn't know if you would ask for nominations. I thought you did.
Oh, not yet. I'm still going through them. It'll be a while, Donny. I'll get to you.
Wait,
Daryl
I was saying I have a nomination for Value of the Week.
Okay, go ahead, Donny. What is it?
Oh, was it not time for that? I'm sorry.
Donny, are you talking to me or the people in your head?
Come on, Donny, we've all nominated.
Right, well, I'm just going to say it anyway. So anyway, all right, I said I think I fucking lost that.
Right, Donny. What? Go ahead, Donny. Sorry, go ahead.
On May 24th. Right. Let's turn off the music.
Leave him alone. Let him speak. Leave him alone. Go on, Donny.
So all right. So on May 24th, Bob Arum said the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight was a on May 24th.
Time's up.
Fuck off. I'm looking for the joke. 8/28. Arum comes out and says.
So Donny, you're breaking up, mate. You're breaking up. Can you start again, please?
Ignore them, Donny. Go ahead.
So, anyways, he heard that they had trouble getting the fight done, and then he actually said, you know, if even though that fight's a joke, he said he was totally willing to do. Pretty much in 4 days, he went from saying that any boxer fighting an MMA fighter in that fight, there's money in that, which is like typical Bob Arum behavior. So I just figured that was a value nomination.
Certainly is, Donny. Thank you for that. Right.
Only got 3/4 of that.
Daryl Jelly has nominated Amir Khan while he was deciding if Brook was fighting Thurman or Spence in his fight. And this was a belter from Brian King. Danny Vaughan, I don't know what happened here. He tweeted out, Kell Brook sucks cock.
Oh, I seen this. He said he got hacked yesterday.
Yeah.
I seen that.
Brilliant, man.
Who tweeted that out?
Danny Vaughan, the trainer from Liverpool. I'll put it up on the Facebook page. He said afterwards, he said, sorry, that wasn't me. My daft fucking mate had just got my phone, sorry.
Who was the mate? Who does he train still? Who does he train?
Jamie Conlon, Paddy Barnes, a good pile of the MTK crew.
He's out there. He trains out Marbella, doesn't he? Marbella.
Yeah. So nomination.
I'll say it was Paddy, done it.
Oh, it probably was. Round by round boxing. They said Steve Farhood had Spence up 4-2 after 6 rounds, but they in fact had Brook. Danny Young was having a go at Adam Smith for saying there were 5 rounds to go in the 9th round. Martin Hurry, a few people sent this in. Frotch for calling Spence Spencer throughout the fight. Make Money was talking about McGregor, said he would ice everyone in the boxing world in 1 or 2 rounds. Hit and Move was suggesting that Corley versus Judah was a good fight that should take place. Holly Lewis again for Frotch. This was a good one from Bossman. This was sent in numerous times. Bossman said, Brook was a bit unlucky, Eddie Hearn, but honestly, he didn't see anything too special from Spence. Sam Eggington could bring that belt back home. Sam Eggington to beat Errol Spence, basically, Bossman saying.
Yes, the English Magritte.
Let's have a look. Bellew of the Week for Groves for calling out Paul Smith. Audley Harrison, not sure why the crowds are hating on Eddie Hearn with all the boos. He and Matchroom helped to shape boxing today. He and Al Heyman have led the way. That was Danny Flexen actually sent that one in to me. And that's it. That's all the ones that I've got. Anyone they want to add? I know Donny's added a really, really good one.
What was Donny's one again?
Well, he was...
Right. I was actually going to see Sky for multiple offences, so that's my pick. Sky for multiple offences last night.
But you did mention Eddie Hearn for his meltdown this week, eh?
Oh fuck! I Hearn up for his meltdown. Definitely Hearn gets my vote for his meltdown on IFL. What am I talking about? I'm right in my head. That right? That's my vote. Yep.
Okay, Eddie Hearn. Rob, you got any nominations, or who do you want to put in?
I wanted to get George Groves in for saying in his outfield that what does he need James DeGale for? Or who else do we want to see him fighting?
I know.
And Amir Khan for telling Bellew that he needs to make weight a heavyweight.
Amir had a shocker, didn't he? It was funny whenever he was going, yeah, I think Kel needs to get on the inside of Thurman and get the jab going because Thurman's quite quick. And then someone must have said something in his ear and he's like, Spence Jr. Absolute nightmare. Right, Andy, any nominations from you?
Aye, I've got 2. Fuck. Callie Surland, just for being absolutely beat last night.
Yeah.
Tune his face like he was going into business. It was like eating his face off there last night. And Shane Mosley's been ordered to pay a defamation lawsuit to his ex-missus $75,000.
Shane can't catch a break, can he?
Right. So it was unboxing scene. So I've not read right through it yet, but he states here about he'd implied that she was a bigamist, right? Got my 2002. The jury had, I like this bit because it actually had to tell us who was in the jury. The jury had 4 Asians and 9 women. The judge was Asian and would let her or the witness testify. It was not fair trial, and all my opinion, Mosley stated when asked about the $75,000 award sent to Jim Mosley. Fucking owned again. I mean, he's not even got any title belts. He's had to hand them back to his fucking ex.
She's done him right up there. Fuck me.
Oh, what?
Shane's going to have to start pushing those penny stock shares and all those Ponzi schemes on Twitter again that he's so fond of. Donny's back with us. Donny, any nominations from you?
Well, last time I tried to get one, it was not the time for it. But I had misheard. I thought you were asking for them. No, that was my one. Although, did we get the one? Oh, yeah, no, we did get that one. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Who was your one for again, sorry?
Oh, Aram, but...
Bob Aram.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Right, so Tommy's going for Eddie Hearn. Excuse me. Rob, who are you going for?
I think I'm going to go for one this week. I'll actually go for Billy Joe Saunders. I enjoyed his one. Not that I know it's a serious subject, but I just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going for Danny Vaughan. Who are you going for, Andy?
I really want to go for Hearn or Surland. I just think Mosley getting shafted again off his ex-missus. I mean,
shafted.
He does. I mean, Mosley needs to seek professional help. He really does. He really needs to seek professional help. He needs to go and get the best hitman he knows and take her out, because he's going to end up paying her for the rest of his fucking natural. Shane Mosley for me.
Talk about not learning your lesson. Like, every time Mosley gets a new girlfriend, he's all over social media declaring his undying love for this one, and you can just hear the word rubbing her hands in the background, like, I'm taking him to the bank. I can't wait.
He's got me blocked. He's like his last girlfriend fucking blocked me.
Wasn't he with that Puerto Rican one as well? She did a number on him as well, and then the next one, and then he was whining on Twitter saying, "I lost the best thing that ever happened to me." I was like, "Yeah, your senses."
Was it the Puerto Rican one?
Who was that chick he was with when he fought Pacquiao, man? She was banging.
Bella Gonzalez.
Aye, that was it, man. She had,
was that the one that Mayorga fucking slapped her ass?
That's what I was just about to say, Andy. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. No, that was his new one. That took his. That was his. She was the manager and co-promoter. Shane elevates them quickly. He doesn't do the intern thing. He just elevates them to vice president straight away.
Is his son still boxing? Wasn't he doing unlicensed or something?
He was juiced, wasn't he?
He got caught in the juice, man.
Apple didn't fall far from the tree there.
Yeah, I was going to say the syringe didn't fall far from the tree. Right, Donny, it's all down on you. Then we've all picked somebody different. Although, no, Andy, did you pick Hearn? Did you?
No, Shane Mosley, mate.
I wanted to pick Vaughn. I mean, I just think that's great. Like, you could. I mean, now, like, that's like the classic excuse. Like, you can tweet out, like, I mean, the most obscene, like, racist or whatever. Oh no, someone just grabbed my phone. Like, I'd like to see Trump try to use that one. But, like, actually, no. Like, one of my buddies just was like fucking drunk and grabbed my phone. But
it's possible.
So that was good. I like that one.
Yeah, that's me and you, Donny, for Danny Vaughan. Then, so he's got 2 votes. So congratulations, Danny. You're the Bellew of the week.
Well done, Danny.
Someone needs to tweet his mate and tell him. Right, that's all I've got. Anybody else want to add anything in, or shall we bail the hell out of here?
Eddie Hearn's a grass. Pass it on.
Eddie is a grass.
Bitter bastards. That's what you two are.
I'm not bad. He wasn't aiming at me. I wasn't involved in any of this shit.
You're the instigator, Andy.
No, I just sat back. I just lobbed a few grenades in it. Just but the right shit, and Brian and Tommy got the back end. I can only apologise to the boys.
Should have got Brian on. Although he'll maybe have a say tomorrow night, I don't know. Right, that'll do. Thanks to everybody who's jumped on tonight. We've had Donny, we've had Andy, we've had Rob, we've had Steve. Yeah, that's me. We've had Tommy, we've had Dominic. Who else came on? Ben Thorns came on. Big Russ was on. Packed show as always. We shall catch you all next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.